The soldiers on Qingshir's side looked at each other. Officer Qingshir gritted his teeth and thought for a long time. To be honest, he didn't expect to run into the Shinji battalion. And he knows it very well. They were 400 men and faced 1,000 Divine Machine Battalion soldiers. There really isn't much to stand out for. Listen to me. Drop your weapon. Outcome. At the moment when the Qingshir troops had just put down their guns, Ren Xiaosu took out a pistol. Kill the officer who killed Qingshir. The crisp sound of gunfire echoed through the valley. Everyone was stunned. Ren Xiaosu yelled that they had no guns. The completion of the project is the merit of the troops. Come ashore with me. The people in the back looked dazed. Some people followed and rushed forward. Someone wants to run, though. But Li Qingzheng and the others raised their guns behind to supervise the battle. Li Qingzheng raised his gun to work smartly. I'll see who dares to run. A group of people chased ducks to the shelves. All guns up. Rush forward. The battle was fought in a mess. Some people don't even know what's going on. It's just that Ren Xiaosu Khan rushed forward without fear of death. They subconsciously rushed up, shooting. And in the distance in the Qingshir headquarters, one of the generals exclaimed, "A private unit annihilated the Special Operations Forces of the city of Qing." You're not kidding. Confirmed no. This is the biggest good news in history. Ren Xiaosu led the 1,400 army against the 400 Special Operations Battalion of Kyung. Victory. The news spread directly throughout the Li clan's operational headquarters. Sijuan became a hero battalion. Ren Xiaosu was also commended. Lieutenant of the Li's regular army. A model for the whole army. But at this moment, the generals of the Li clan did so. But I didn't have a good heart. After equipping this private force, put it on the most difficult position. Qing's change of commander on the spot. The person in charge became a celebrity. This K-Clinic is extremely proud of the person. How could it be possible to endure such a failure? Send these 4 troops to the most difficult positions. Let Qing Clinic go to fight. Drain his forces. The staff officer was blind to this. The leader is to use this 4-person army to lure Qing Clinic. Go and fight the hardest positions. Tang Wani of the Cadre Division has just returned to the headquarters. He was angry with Ren Xiaosu. When I came back, I was going to write black materials about Ren Xiaosu. 4 critical times in the future. Give Ren Xiaosu a fatal blow. And yet at this very moment, the curtain of the camp tent of the cadre department was lifted. Old Soup, you have to work hard to make a trip. Give Ren Xiaosu another risk. Tang Wani was stunned. He knew too well what it meant to be conferred. That same evening, Tang Wani again arrived at the private force camp. His attitude was much better this time. And not only with the award papers. He also carried 5 carts of food supplies and 5 carts of military ranks. Ren Xiaosu thought about it. I want you to split it for me. This made Tang Wani speechless immediately. And yet all this happens. Yang Xiaojin, who was far away at the 108 barrier, had no news. He tapped the roller shutter door 6 times in a row. After a 2-second pause, I knocked it again. The roller shutter door was halfway lifted with a clatter. The owner of the shop smiled and said with a smile, "You're from the north." After the 2 entered the room, the boss said to Yang Xiaojing, "Recently, the Shinji battalion encountered snipers. And also, it was the private troops who were completely annihilated on the front line of the Beachhead Mountain. Downplay the special operation." This news can't help but remind Yang Xiaojing of Ren Xiaosu. I suspect he's in the private army. You go find me the list of fighters. The boss was stunned. What kind of person is that young man? It was so important to be taken so seriously by this girl. At the same time as Gaokan, Governing Institute, several operators, facing the corpses of several of the warriors. Prepare for the robot in these corpses. Carry out recycling. Look at the data displayed on the machine. The operator was stunned. The patriarch, the robot in his body, was gone. It's all going on quietly. Then there was a mutiny. The truck rumbled north along the mountain road. At this time, the 4-man army was already a shotgun for a cannon. Everyone was equipped with an automatic rifle. Even heavy machine guns have 4 bodies. They ordered the command of the North listing this time. They were asked to participate in the garrison of the 313 position. And the 313 position is an important military strategic position. Usually, there is no need for the 4 armed forces to assist in defense. This time with great fanfare went to the 313 position. It seems that someone is deliberately telling Qing. The 4-man unit that humiliates you is in position 313. You don't come. If you don't dare to come, it's also a wrong celebration. If you come, you're going to have to fight a tough battle. This is Ma Kai, the director of the 313 position. When Ren Xiaosu led a 4-person army. When coming to position 313, he found the soldiers in this barracks did not seem to be enthusiastic about them. The attitude of the forward base is very different. In the face of McKay's cynicism, Ren Xiaosu looked indifferent. Immediately used the learning map against Ma Kai. The voice of the palace sounded in my head. To randomly draw the opponent's low-level guessing skills. Whether to study or not. Ren Xiaosu was stupid at the time. The boxing skill is a magic thing. 5 Chiefs 666. Ren Xiaosu was a little heartbroken. Here is the execution of the toast. Not serious at all. Guess the boxing skills. It's still a low level. After that, I used this skill to fight with others. Let no one drink to death. In the end, Ren Xiaosu still learned the skill of guessing boxing. After all, if you don't learn in vain, you can't learn in vain. Don't you have a lot of skills? Right now. Chen Wudi was a little silent. Said the master. I heard it in the camp. A lot of people said they wanted us to die. Ren Xiaosu is not concerned with himself. Hang high attitude. Do not worry. They were all dead. We'll be fine. Master. What did you say we went to the West Heaven to learn the scriptures for? Chen Wudi asked. Ren Xiaosu contemplative film. Carved to live a good life. Chen Wushu was stunned for a moment. Are you serious? Isn't it for the sake of purifying sentient beings? Ren Xiaosu patiently persuaded you to cross yourself first. To be able to cross others again. Take others with yourself. On the night of Ren Xiaosu's arrival at the 313 position, Roland had arrived secretly. Young's 88 arms. Ren Xiaosu sat on a mountain. Look behind you. The positions in which they were located in the northernmost part of the 313 position, just like Chen Wudi heard. The Mackay laughed and arranged them here. It's here to die. And at the moment, Ren Xiaosu saw 3 very suspicious tents. Could it be the secret area of the Liu clan inside? Just when Ren Xiaosu was in reverie. Suddenly, someone was behind a big tree in front of them. Whispered to hit the north. Here comes a llama. Hit the south side came a dumb man. Come out, Ren Xiaosu. After speaking, Tang Zhou came out from behind a tree. After the two communicated, the latest intelligence was exchanged. Yang expects to arrive at the front line in 2 days. Start now. And Qingjin wants to attack the 319 position. Also plans to Song Qingyun and the remnants of the Sin to come over. Let Ren Xiaosu solve it. However, at this time, he saw Ren Xiaosu seriously and said call 313. This is not soil protection. Don't worry about me. Inside the camp on the other side, McKay also gets word from the scout. The messengers attacked the 313 and 319 formations in 2 directions. I just don't know how to distribute the troops. At this moment, Ma Kai is confident. I think they are very likely. We'll be in our 313 position to fake a shot. Then the main attack on the 319 position. Operational Staff Officer Lode Island Fakai laughed. Sure enough, the battlefield situation was distinguished. I agree with you. Inform the following combat sequences to get ready. The position that the bullshit hero battalion is defending has nothing to do with the big picture. If there is a Qing Shi Liang Palace, do not support other combat sequences. Operational Staff Officer Villain. This is to sell this hero camp. Right now, the roar outside kept ringing out. The ground seemed to tremble. These are several extremely powerful grenades. And after being thrown out, What they waited for was silence. Just now, the 313 position that McKay was responsible for, because of the arming map given by Ren Xiaosu. Kyungjin can attack with a mortar with precision. Medium fire placement point. Look at the shells flying in the sky. Makai couldn't figure it out. How did Qingjin know the location of the defense? The other side. Ren Xiaosu led the hero battalion on the battlefield. Where they are. On a hillside with a 43-degree inclination. Li Qingzheng listened to the sound of artillery fire in the distance. He asked the battalion commander with a trembling voice. Qingshi won't bombard us with mortars. We can't handle it. What are you afraid of? Ren Xiaosu said. Isn't it yet to bomb? At this time, the position is down the mountain. There were already faint Qingshi soldiers approaching. Ren Xiaosu estimated the number of people on the other side. I'm afraid there are thousands of people. This is an infantry regiment. Ren Xiaosu said, we have the advantage of terrain. Wait for them to get closer. It's right. A little closer. That's enough for them to throw grenades. Ren Xiaosu strategized. In the grasp. There is no escape. The next moment, Qing's infantry regiment had reached the halfway point of the mountain. Ren Xiaosu suddenly yelled and fired. 4 heavy machine guns in a pillbox. It's like a fire-breathing snake. Machine gun bullets hit the mountainside. Dirt splashes. This bullet hit the man's arm. The arm was immediately broken. The Qing soldiers wanted to rush up, but I couldn't rush at all. With RBG rockets. The regimental commander roared. A soldier has just set up a gun and is aiming. Bang! This civilian RPG soldier was blown apart. The rocket exploded before it could be fired. Rushed up, the regiment commander gritted his teeth and rushed up. Handle with a grenade. The position exploded. There is only one way to live. There should not be many defenders in this position. There is hope. There were several brave bombardiers. Immediately continue to pounce upwards. Wait until the specified distance is reached. The grenade came out of his hand. Everyone on the mountainside was excited. The army defending the position on the hill had little experience. They broke through to a position where they could throw grenades. As a result, I waited for a long time. The grenade that was thrown went off, though, but the sound is small. The regimental commander is a smart man. So when he heard this voice, he was angry. The villain deceived me too much. Even fermented and refined bombs for us. The regimental leader was about to cry. He only found out now. Qingjining people are really unscrupulous. There is no way back. Ren Xiaosu hit people without a shot on the hillside. You see, we're a battalion of heroes. The Qingshi troops on the opposite side. There is simply no threat to us. Li Qingzheng believed it at that time. Other soldiers of the hero battalion. It didn't seem so terrible to find out that the war was not so terrible. Suddenly, the palace said in his mind, the mission is to save lives. 100 people receive 5 allotment points. Ren Xiaosu was stunned for a moment. Just now, he hadn't figured out what excuse he might use to get back to the rear of the position. As a result, the palace immediately helped him find a reason. He glanced below the position. There were very few infantry regiments left. Wu Di followed me back to the position to save people. There were a lot of wounded there. With that, the two of them rushed back. Li Qingzheng was almost so frightened that his soul flew out of the sheath. This is a battlefield filled with gunpowder. Medics go around rescuing people. But there were too many dead and wounded. How could it be saved? Wu Di, you take them to carry the wounded to the rescue. At this time, Ren Xiaosu was already looking for it. The warrior who is already dead. Sometimes you can't even see where people are. However, Ren Xiaosu has a good sense of direction. He quickly found the location of the 3 tents. But where to meet a Nimi? The warrior immediately asked the palace to unlock the machine. A set of processes is completed. Hurry up and put the Nimi robot. Put it into your own space first. At this time, Ren Xiaosu collected a circle of nanorobots. There's still a little bit to be desired. A cry for help stopped Ren Xiaosu. Isn't it 07 lying on the ground? Ren Xiaosu said with a smile. Excuse me. I didn't see it just now. How are you hurting? Lin Chi struggled and said, Now is not the time to catch up. The words are not finished yet. Saw Ren Xiaosu pick up the ground. A shrapnel pierced his neck. Lin Chi raised his eyes to look at Ren Xiaosu. Only found that Ren Xiaosu's eyes were only endlessly cold. There is a way to die early and be born early. Ba. This time, Ren Xiaosu harvested the rice robot. The number is huge. Not to mention that his leg was made up. Maybe give Yen Lu Yuan. After the capping, I can still give some to Jiang Wu's students. At this time, Ren Xiaosu saw it. There were also scattered marching backpacks on the ground. He opened it and looked, only to find that inside was a heavy metal black box. I don't know what it's for. Ren Xiaosu's eyes lit up. This thing isn't meant to be infinitely charged. Ren Xiaosu thought of this. He picked up 3 intact ones and stuffed them into the space. Useful or not? Let's take it first. Chinwudi, they have already found a number of wounded. I was carrying it to the medical center. Ren Xiaosu picked up a casualty in the camp. Shoulders followed behind the line. I arrived at the medical center. The nurses and doctors were covered in blood. At this time, Ren Xiaosu laughed when he saw the man named Ma Kai. It's lying here. Which combat sequence are you from? Chon Invincible said proudly. We are from the Heroes Battalion. That's when McKay was woken up. When he saw Ren Xiaosu, he was furious. Have you abandoned your position? Ren Xiaosu was not happy. Our Heroes Battalion has a sense of honor for this. What a strong battle sequence. Yes, but discard the position of such a thing. We wiped out all the enemy's infantry regiments. That's how they came to help the other brother troops. If you don't believe it, you can go and see the battlefield. I know I don't have time to waste time with you right now. I had to save people. Ren Xiaosu carried the wounded to the medical center, while asking the other party to say thank you. In this way, Ren Xiaosu continued to brush the task. Rescue the wounded. When Ren Xiaosu heard the palace say, the moment the mission is completed, he immediately assigned the points. 4 points of agility. A little power. I saw that Ren Xiaosu's muscles were refined again. The palace said, beyond the tipping point with strength and agility. Ren Xiaosu was about to hear what the palace was going to say. But there was a little bit of a voice in the medical center. I saw someone in the medical center yelling at Chinwui. Roll on the skill to promote. Double strength and agility for 30 seconds. Cool down time 1 day. This is Ren Xiaosu's latest skill. If you use this skill well, the effect is still quite large. You might be able to catch the enemy off guard. It turns out that the physical fitness has reached a certain level. There is such an additional reward. Come to think of it. Ren Xiaosu added bacon to the pot and stir the sauté spoon a few times. The bacon fried rice is ready. Ren Xiaosu immediately made a bowl for Chinwudi. How about the taste? Delicious, Chinwudi laughed. Mouth full of oil. Master, why are you so kind to me? In fact, Ren Xiaosu had already discovered it. It seems that Qin Wushu is exposed to more evil things. The more sober he became, Chinwudi no longer shouted when he saw Roland like before, running around and even being silent and in a daze from time to time. It's been a long time since I was in a daze. Right now, only Ren Xiaosu can enlighten Chen Wuving. And the other side, 108p on both sides. A middle-aged man was pondering something. He had a document in his hand. That's about the inside. The robot was stolen and lost. The middle-aged man is called Li Dingding. Few people knew of his existence. He is the shadow of the Li family. It's the same as the Qing Clinic. Do shady things for the consortium. It's just that he is different from Qingji. Qingji has always exposed itself to the sun, and he is always hidden in the shadows. At this time, there was a knock on the door outside. Hand it to him with a new document. Sir, this is a new case that has been explained from above. It is said that a batch of nanobots have been damaged. It seems that it is because the law of synchronization and coordination is a leadership system. This is what the Presidium has entrusted you with. Said to be the program that comes with the Nami robot. It was emptied. As soon as these words came out, Li Dingding was stunned. He knows Nami robot well. The emptying procedure is only performed when it is collected. Even confidential handling. It is also necessary for the Bureau to grant private invitations. Li Dingding picked up the roster and looked through it quickly. Suddenly, I saw something unusual. Li Qingzheng, Ren Xiaosu, Chen Wudi, and several others. Both in the dossier and in the medical examination list. Immediately arrest a 4-man unit. The 2nd Iron Battalion is a combat team. Because of Ren Xiaosu. Now it is a benchmark erected by the whole army. The 2nd Iron Battalion was also changed to the Hero Battalion. Ren Xiaosu is also the battalion commander of the Hero Battalion. If you're not 100% sure, let's keep a low profile. At this time, even Li Dingding didn't dare to say it. I can carry this on my own. I personally went to the 313 position. This is done in secret. At night, the fighting on the 313 position has stopped. Suddenly, an off-road convoy drove into the 313 position. It's just that an officer is holding a list, said Ren Xiaosu. Li Qingzheng Chun is invincible. 16 of you get on the bus. Follow us back to position 313. Inside, Ren Xiaosu and Li Qingzheng glanced at each other. He's already found out. To the name of the all-impressive is their battle alone. Ren Xiaosu decided. First follow this group back to the 313 position. He needs to wait for an opportunity now. But no one can say goodbye to these words. This man. Investigation into the theft of nanobots is ongoing, and all the clues point to Ren Xiaosu outside the door. In order to gather evidence, Li Dingding decided to interrogate the team members individually. Tell me if there is anything unusual in your team. At first, the little brother didn't admit anything, until Li Dingding threw a bag of money on the ground. The little brother has never seen so much money in his life. I can see it straight. Immediately stole Ren Xiaosu out of the outpost many times. And Chen Wudi and Ren Xiaosu are apprentices. Wait for one by one. Afterwards, everyone who went and betrayed Ren Xiaosu. And Ren Xiaosu and the two of them also heard clearly outside the door. Only Li Qing is a true man. No matter how threatened Li Dingding, he just wouldn't say anything. However, the testimonies previously collected were sufficient. Li Dingding was about to go out and arrest people. Suddenly, a missile landed next to the camp and exploded. Ren Xiaosu took advantage of the chaos and rushed towards Li Dingding. At this moment, the Nami robot in the body was instantly activated. It only took a second to fully arm Ren Xiaosu. Li Dingding was shocked when he saw this scene. On him, how could there be a molded meter of robot armor? I own the most Nami robots on the entire Richter scale, but it's not up to his level. When I lost my mind, my hand was like an iron tong. Strangled Li Dingding's neck. Then he shook it vigorously. Threw Li Dingding to the ground. The soldier on the side was one in front of him stunned. Immediately ordered the crowd to shoot. Ren Xiaosu stood motionless in the midst of the artillery fire. Let the bullets hit him and spark. That's when it happened. There was a voice in the distance. Are you done fighting? It's my turn to fight after the fight. I saw that the minister was invincible and wearing a chain. The golden armor holds the Dinghaitian needle. It's like an avatar fighting to defeat fire. Burn my master's name. As soon as the words fell, the 40-meter golden hoop stick smashed down. The soldier was smashed to the ground. Then the master and apprentice went hand in hand. Wherever the figure passed, no one could stand. Ren Xiaosu was entangled domineeringly. Said disdainfully, I have what you have, and I have it too. Mine is stronger than all of you combined. Let's start the 30-second countdown. The soldiers didn't know why. What 30 seconds? Ren Xiaosu raised his knife forward. Whisper the last 30 seconds of your life. Cui Cheng's skill was instantly activated. Ren Xiaosu shuttled through the crowd like lightning. Where the sword flashed, the enemy was cut off. The whole process takes less than 3 seconds. Meanwhile, Chen Wudi in the distance had also picked up the enemy. Ren Xiaosu and Chen Wushu have just ended a big battle. At this moment, their identities have been revealed. The camp certainly can't stay any longer. You can face the wounded in one place. Ren Xiaosu couldn't bear to abandon it. He picked up the wounded and prepared to rush back to mine number 108. Suddenly, a huge group of soldiers came in front of him. Ren Xiaosu clenched his fists. I thought to myself, even if they had 3 or 5 more clones, I'm afraid I can't resist it. The fists and kicks of 500 Nami warriors are added together, and the figure of their group. It also attracted the attention of the non-commissioned officers in the ranks. Which combat sequence are you from? Fortunately, Ren Xiaosu had already expected this step. We are from the 7th Infantry Regiment. Prepare to take the injured to the medical center. But the non-commissioned officer in front of him didn't care about the life or death of the wounded. Ask Ren Xiaosu to take him to the position where the hero battalion is located. Seeing that it is about to be exposed, Li Qingzheng took the initiative to stand up. He said, "Please let me take you there." After speaking, he turned his head and instructed Ren Xiaosong. Tell them to hurry to the medical center. Don't delay the treatment of the injured. After listening, Ren Xiaosu was stunned. He knew that Li Qingzheng was leaving. You may never come back. It's not coming, but it's been until now. Ren Xiaosu could not live up to Li Qingzheng's sacrifice. His face was gloomy. The wounded man on his back turned around and left. He also told everyone not to turn back. And a seed of revenge. It was buried deep in his heart. Fortunately, it didn't go far. They came across a troop carrier. Take advantage of the driver's inattention. Ren Xiaosu sneaked into the car. One foot on the throttle went straight away. Then the vehicle came to a city gate. He was stopped. Ren Xiaosu was unhurried. Took out the ID card that Lao Hu gave him. After the soldiers guarding the door saw it, immediately opened the door respectfully and give up. Ren Xiaosu parked the car in front of a clothing store. He was worried that he would be too conspicuous on the street in his military uniform. So I bought a lot of casual clothes. Ren Xiaosu who changed his clothes. I was about to ask someone else to change it too. Found Chen Wudi sitting in the back compartment. I've already spat out a rainbow. Ren Xiaosu laughed at him, and he was still motion sick. But when he looked behind the carriage, only to find that others were foaming at the mouth, fainted directly. This made him doubt his driving skills. After resting, Ren Xiaosu will buy the clothes, with the injured team members to be handed over, and told everyone to hide their identities. Subsequently, Ren Xiaosu searched for clues about the flame of 6 yuan in the city, and along the way, but he saw many residents who cannot afford to eat as a result of the war. Because in times of war, the money for the surname and the Yang family is as worthless as paper. But he couldn't protect himself. I don't want to be nosy. That's when it happened. Ren Xiaosu suddenly received a system task prompt. Please help 10 war-torn residents of the fortress. The currency of the wartime was worthless. But Ren Xiaosu came to a gold shop. Say to the boss how much money you have here. How much do I change? The boss listened. Suddenly the joy blossomed. There are really fools in this period who exchange gold for goods. After the transaction is closed, Ren Xiaosu received a system prompt that the task completion progress was 1/10. It was so easy to complete the task. Not only did he help the war-torn inhabitants of the wall, I also made a lot of money. Immediately after, Ren Xiaosu swept all the attractions on this street. Earn a lot of money. And the system also prompts. Quest completion rewards the basic skill learning graph. After all this is done, Ren Xiaosu decided to go back and have a look. How is the student's recovery from his injury? I have to say, the black medicine that Ren Xiaosu bought has a good effect on external injuries. But it didn't work for the dislocated Du Gu. This stumped Ren Xiaosu. He won't borrow it. But soon he figured it out. He lifted Du Gu's dislocated arm. The nanobot in the body turns into a white thread, constantly clinging to Du Gu's arm. At this time, Ren Xiaosu opened his mouth and said, "Try it. Can you control nanobots? Help yourself straighten your bones." After that, under the control of Du Gu, the dislocated arm was actually connected. After that, Ren Xiaosu took the rice robot again. It was given to a few other students. One meal down the operation. Ren Xiaosu only felt that his body was hollowed out. So he took a group of students to the hotel. I ordered all the dishes on the menu. Ren Xiaosu's generous shot. It made the boss lady look incredible. Wu Di on the side couldn't help but complain about the master. Is this sickness in the brain getting worse? Ren Xiaosu said that he didn't want to pay attention to him very much. Suddenly, the system prompts that the host has detected a large amount of money. Whether to unlock high-level storage space. Ren Xiaosu, who became rich overnight, seeing that it is not enough to put daily necessities on your own. 15 cubic meters of storage space. I can't bear it. So he waved his hand. 240 cubic meters of premium storage space is unlocked in no time. The deductible 4.8 million makes people feel bloody. At this time, the system sent another prompt. Whether to unlock the vacuum preservation function is unlocked. Whether to unlock the plant planting function is unlocked. Ren Xiaosu was obviously caught up in the nesting doll of the black business system. Unlock it in one meal. There is nothing left on his body. I'm afraid this is what it feels like to go back to the pre-liberation period overnight. Wu Di saw that Ren Xiaosu's face was wrong. I thought he was sick. As everyone knows, Ren Xiaosu was calculating that he would not be able to pay for the meal. How to run. That's when it happened. 2 men from the order division broke into the hotel, preparing to arrest Ren Xiaosu for secretly hiding gold from unknown sources. How arrogant this man is. It was reported that he was in possession of gold. The order department came to arrest people, but he didn't hurry to show his false testimony. And the people of the order division witnessed not only did not have doubts. On the contrary, he considered himself unlucky. I wonder how I met the plague god of Tajinji. Ren Xiaosu said, pretending to be a tiger. Your order division is quite lenient. Do you want to withhold my gold privately? Someone from the order division immediately said it was a misunderstanding. But Ren Xiaosu did not give up. In the future, you will be in charge of the order. It's under the control of Artez Hinji. This startled the people of the order division. I thought that Tajinji was going to seize power. So he left immediately. Report the matter to your boss. After a while, their boss Lao Hu appeared. Lao Hu also knew that Ren Xiaosu dared to say this. There must be something to find yourself. And after a short conversation, Ren Xiaosu learned of Yin Liuyuan's whereabouts, and where Li Qingzheng will be imprisoned. Lao Hu left with a map when he left. And after Ren Xiaosu saw it, his face changed suddenly. On the way out, Invincible asks people for a small vegetarian. Are they going to save Li Qingzheng, or to find Yin Jun? This question made Xiaosu also entangled. It is definitely not so easy to save Li Qingzheng, and risking one's life to save someone. Clearly not in line with his character. But Li Qingzheng from beginning to end. I didn't betray them. He also took the initiative to sacrifice himself. Help them escape their pursuers. Come to think of it, Ren Xiaosu seemed to have made up her mind. Suddenly step on the accelerator and slam the direction. The car immediately made a 180-degree turn. Gallop in a certain direction. Meanwhile, Li Qingzheng was on his way back to the fortress. And even if he is in a desperate situation, faced with the soldiers' questioning, is still calm. Didn't say anything about the betrayer Xiaosu. That's when it happened. A soldier removes his helmet. Introduced himself to Li Qingzheng. My name is Li Shantan. Is Ren Xiaosu's friend. I just played a joke on you. Just when Li Qingzheng was surprised. Li Shantan continued, Ren Xiaosu. After learning the news that you will be being held at the base, I'm hesitating to come and save you. Li Qingzheng listened. Immediately anxious. Is it his friend? Why pit him into such a dangerous place? Li Shantan just squinted and smiled. Because it's over. Want to see how he will treat his friends. As soon as the words fell, suddenly there was a violent explosion directly in front of the vehicle. And wait for the smoke to clear. Ren Xiaosu's figure appeared in front of the convoy. Lao Li Laozi has come to save you. The man bought the explosives in advance. Dismantle the vehicle transporting the prisoners. Just to rescue his friendly Qingzheng. But Ren Xiaosu didn't expect it. I met Prodigy Li here. thinking that the process of saving people this time was so smooth. He instantly understood that he was being tricked by Lao Hu and them. Ren Xiaosu is angry and doesn't fight in one place. Rushed up and wanted to punch Li Shan. But he told Ren Xiaosu, the barrier where the 6 yuan is located is about to change. Hear this. Ren Xiaosu froze in place. Don't bother beating him. I immediately drove to the barrier where the 6 yuan was. Meanwhile, somewhere outside the rampart's dwelling, lying all over the place, corpses lying all over the place. And inside the residence, Nonsense is standing at the window. Admire the beautiful view in the distance. Behind him was an old man crawling in a pool of blood. And this old man is none other than someone from the Li Presidium. It is also the one who kills the daughter of Nonsense. That's when it happened. He stumbled upon a pistol hidden under the table. So I snuck around and took it off. Fired several shots at Lao Hu's back. However, there was a clicking sound from the pistol. There were no bullets in it at all. Obviously, all this is in the hands of Lao Hu. And he just said it indifferently. The ritual soon ceased to exist. At this time, Ren Xiaosu was galloping all the way. Finally found them for $6 when night came. And Ren Xiaosu didn't explain at all. He immediately took everyone into the car. 6 yuan and others in the back compartment were at a loss. Didn't know what was going on at all. But Sister Xiaoyu is very optimistic. Just say everyone is okay. Suddenly a huge explosion sounded. Ren Xiaosu looked at the smoke not far away. A new war is about to begin. At this time, a missile happened again. Blew up a barrier in front of them. And Ren Xiaosu signaled to continue driving. The walls collapsed. It's just the right time to get out. But not far yet. Ren Xiaosu noticed that something was wrong. The walls are falling. Why is Lu Ming still running back? It's like she's hiding from something. At this time, Ren Xiaosu heard Lu Ming shouting strangely. Suddenly it dawned. Such a big mess. How could the subject be absent? So he immediately called Li Qingjing to turn around and run away. But Lu Ming didn't have such good luck. The old woman, who was running slowly, was caught by the test subject. Eat it on the spot. And even more pitiful is a mother. After being caught, he pushed the child away, crying and screaming that he must live. And Ren Xiaosu their vehicle. After turning a corner at an intersection, I ran into a group of warriors from the board of directors. An inevitable big war ensued. The ramparts exploded. Countless test subjects flocked to it. Brutally murdered many displaced people who fled for their lives. Ren Xiaosu was also forced to turn around and escape. But just after the car turned into an alley, it was a whole group of refugee fighters from the Li clan who came in front of him. Ren Xiaosu knew that this battle could not be avoided. So he shouted invincible to cover himself. Then he rushed to the enemy alone. Only one photo. Ren Xiaosu knocked a car dozens of meters away. Knocked down a field of nano-warriors. Followed by 4 burst poker cards burst out of his hand. Explosions rang out from time to time. In this battle, Ren Xiaosu has long forgotten about life and death. I just hope to do my best to protect them. Hand up, knife down. One by one, the enemies were slain. At this time, Ren Xiaosu and Chen were invincible. They all choose to give their backs to each other, constantly slashing the enemies in front of him. But you can face the endless stream of warriors in front of you. Ren Xiaosu also lacks skills. In the confusion, he was slashed in the shoulder. Fortunately, there is the defensive protection of Nami's armor. Otherwise, I am afraid that I will lose an arm. Ren Xiaosu knows. The current situation is not promising. The warrior in front of him was tough enough. If you wait until the other warriors arrive, surely they will die. Suddenly, a gunshot rang out in the distance. Then Ren Xiaosu's Li troops behind him. The people and the car were blown up together. Just when Ren Xiaosu was confused, a figure on the roof of a building in the distance instantly caught his attention. That was Miss Yang, who rushed to help. The appearance of companions instantly gave Ren Xiaosu more confidence. He lifted his knife forward. Fight nonstop with a dozen Nemi warriors. At the same time, he also noticed More and more test subjects crawled towards the roof of Yang Xiaojing's building. But even so, the gun in Yang Xiaojing's hand did not stop for a moment. In his heart, friendship between partners than your own life is more important. No matter how Xingyu urged from the side, he just wouldn't go. Subject was seen to have climbed to the top of the building. They all rushed towards the small well. Xingyu can't care about that much anymore. Immediately activate the spatial skill to teleport the two away. The subject pounced. Watch the two successfully get out. Ren Xiaosu's hanging heart gradually let go. Can be invincible with themselves. But it was surrounded by hundreds of nanometer fighters, facing a dead end. Ren Xiaosu was unwilling. It was decided to turn on the urging to die. Maybe this will bring everyone alive. And 30 seconds after Cui Cheng's skill is activated. It is their last hope. It was a battle to the death with a huge disparity. Ren Xiaosu is invincible. Not only was it surrounded and suppressed by hundreds of nano-warriors, there are also countless test subjects on their way. I want to live. Ren Xiaosu can only turn on the skill to destroy the city. Fight your way out in the only 30 seconds. Then Ren Xiaosu started the summoning of the city. The shadow rushed forward. At this time, the shadow has twice the stat bonus. A dozen swords were swung in the air. And when it lands, he harvested the lives of a large number of Nemi warriors. Someone wants to sneak up on you from behind. But before he could get close, he was slashed down by the black shadow brush twice. But right now, in the distance, a Nemi warrior actually carried a rocket. Just listen to the bang. A rocket shot out at a rapid pace. The target is not Ren Xiaosu. It was Chen Wuving, who was in charge of the break and did not notice it. Just as the rocket was about to hit, Ren Xiaosu dodged behind the invincible, accompanied by the explosion of rockets. Ren Xiaosu endured all the rushes alone. The smoke cleared. Ren Xiaosu fell to the ground and was dying. The armor on his body was also shattered. Wu Di hurriedly ran forward and knelt beside Ren Xiaosu. And Ren Xiaosu's eyes were full of regret and unwillingness. Then he said in a weak voice that he probably didn't. Ways to take them out. I hope Wu Di can take everyone to find a place to hide. But Wu Di's eyes at this moment are extremely firm. I won't leave you behind. After saying that, Wu Di rushed towards the enemy. He was going to lure the warrior away alone, so that others have time. Inauguration of small payments. See this scene. Li Qingzheng didn't hesitate to get out of the car to help. He also said that you gave your lives to save me. Now Lao Tzu will never be a turtle with a shrunken head. Then another student joined. They wanted to help Qin Wushu lure the warrior away. But Invincible turned around and said, You all go and help. Take care of the master. It is enough to give it to me alone. Don't forget that I'm the reincarnation of Monkey King. How can you be afraid of demons? In the past, it was always the master who protected him. And this time, finally, it was his turn to protect the master. After speaking, the Invincible carried the golden hoop stick. Alone walked towards the horde of Nami warriors. When Ren Xiaosu used his back, after blocking a rocket for Qin Wudi, he fell to the ground and could not move. But Wu Di had no intention of abandoning him. Instead, he carried the golden hoop stick towards countless warriors, and the subject rushing away. Even if it's death, you have to drag those demons into hell with you. Wu Di thought as he spoke, while waving a golden hoop stick. Fight off one enemy after another. Not enough to come again. At this moment, Invincible floats in the air, covered in golden light. That's the power that comes with burning life. In the previous life, he was the Monkey King, and he had already been there. Now he is the one who no one in the world can win. Now it was finally his turn to protect Master. Invincible overlooks the enemy below him. Domineering shouted Monkey King here. Who dares to fight me? Then Invincible descended from the sky with a golden hoop stick. The golden light fell. The ground exploded. Hordes of Nami warriors and test subjects were blown away. And the one who fell to the ground. I still want to struggle. Invincible pulled out 3 hairs and blew gently. Become a horde of monkeys and monkeys. With an invincible order, all the monkeys and monkeys fought with the test subjects. But the number of test subjects is getting bigger and bigger. I saw Chen Wushu flying and jumping up, raising the golden rod and shouting Tianqing. With the golden hoop rod slammed down, in an instant, countless test subjects were wiped out. And Chinwudi is also, because of overdraft vitality, fell to the ground. That's when it happened. The homeless people huddled in the corridor came out one after another. But no one cared about the hero who fell to the ground. Instead, he began to secretly collect Chinwudi's injuries. Blood left behind. Invincible and strong. Angry yelled at what you're doing. This frightened the homeless people who were holding the blood in their hands. It turns out that the Tinder company is selling at a lot of money, buying up the blood of the transcendent. And these homeless people took advantage of the maneuver to crook their brains. Invincible in knowing the truth. Lost and fell to the ground. The heart was full of disappointment. Is this the world? He suddenly remembered what his master had said. If you feel like you're being swallowed up in darkness, doesn't that mean that you are the light? But the master, the world is full of darkness. Let me extinguish the last light. So Invincible angrily swung the last blow. Lumens of blood are being collected all around, instantly turned to dust. And the Invincible will also burn out the last of its vitality. He sat cross-legged on the ground. Petrification spreads from all over the body. The final work was transformed into a stone statue. Master, I'm leaving. There is no need for Monkey King in this world. Ramparts on the ruined streets. Just finished a big war. Invincible was eventually petrified here, not far from the rooftop. Xiao Jing and Xingyu watched this scene. I can't help but sigh that the era of the rise of the gods is coming. It was the sound of feet in the streets. No one would have thought of the sound of footsteps. In the end, it was Li Shantan who was invincible. He watched the petrified invincible loneliness for a long time. Finally, sit directly on the ground. Accompanied the invincible until midnight. Suddenly, Li Shantan opened his mouth and sighed. You and I are both people who came out of a mental hospital. But we are at 2 extremes. A heart pure. The heart is towards the light. The other willingly sank to hell. Speaking of which, Li Shantan made a promise to invincibility. If you don't die after revenge, then he will go and protect his master for invincible. At this time, barrier number 88. Luo Fatsi, who came to talk about cooperation, was feasting. Eat a lot. Suddenly, a raven sent a letter. After Luo Fatsi saw it, his expression immediately became serious. Then he poured a glass of wine, silently sprinkled on the ground. He understood that no one would call him Rush Air again. Meanwhile, Yen Luyuan led everyone away from Barrier 108. It is safe for the time being. He commanded them to settle here. I'm going to find something to eat for everyone. He used the hunting skills he had learned from humans and small animals. Set up a familiar big country. Get ready to hunt crows. Yen Luyuan was prostrate in the snow, patiently waiting for the crow to fall into the snare, until the snow covers the whole body. After several failures, finally he waited for a chance to succeed. Food should be a joy when you get it. But Yen Luyuan didn't have a taste in his heart. He remembered that his brother had always said that hunting was easy. Although I know that he is lying to himself, I didn't expect it to be so difficult. Only now did he understand. Ren Xiaosu suffered at the beginning. It's far more bitter than I imagined. 6 Yuan returned to the garrison in embarrassment. The first thing I did was to ask my brother if he was awake. Sister Xiaoyu said that Ren Xiaosu was seriously injured. I can only barely pour some antibiotics. So 6 Yuan handed the crow to Sister Xiaoyu. Let her stew some soup for her brother. He silently made a wish for his brother. Sister Xiaoyu handles the crow meat. Throw it all into a boiling pot. And the aroma of the stew. It also attracted the attention of the people around him. At this time, a young man walked up to Sister Xiaoyu. Unceremoniously, He reached out and asked for soup. Sister Xiaoyu gave him a look. And open his mouth and get out of the way. 6 Yuan watched silently from the sidelines. I thought that these people were really used to being noble in the barrier. I don't even understand the posture of asking people to do things. However, the displaced people had no intention of leaving. Instead, he started to think crookedly. I thought about this group of old, weak, sick, and disabled. What is there to be afraid of? Besides, there are a few chicks on the team. Looks pretty good. Bulwark on the wilderness. The woman was stewing a pot of sparrow soup. The aroma of the food. It attracted the malicious eyes of the surrounding refugees. At this moment, a man stepped forward. I am the director of the logistics department of the 108 barrier. Now it's war control. Your food has been requisitioned. A little boy hid a knife in front of the man. Say you're not welcome here. However, this statement immediately drew ridicule from the man. Where's the little kid? Get out of the way. Didn't wait for the man to finish. The cold dagger had pierced the man's heart. And this scene also scared off the rest of the refugees. You can imagine. So ruthless. The little boy who was decisive in killing was actually a first-time master. 6 Yuan thought of his brother Ren Xiaosu. What was once said to him? Don't be afraid to cause trouble. In this wilderness, only others are afraid of you. You can live long. And people are life-saving. Those who are used to it. When you find out that someone is more ruthless than them, subconsciously, you will retreat. Until this moment. 6 Yuan to fully understand. My brother used to be burdened with something. Now my brother is seriously injured and unconscious. The only one who can protect him is himself. Sister Xiaoyu comforted her on the side and said goodbye, thinking so much. Go and try it, sister. Your stewed sparrow soup. 6 Yuan, holding a bowl of soup, with a sad face. I want my brother to be awake. You won't be hungry. Then, Sister Xiaoyu suggested that there were a lot of refugees here. There may be a doctor inside. Hearing this, these 6 people immediately cheered up. I turned around and went to the doctor. But suddenly Ren Xiaosu's voice came from behind him. I don't need to be treated. Saw Ren Xiaosu who woke up. 6 people were pleasantly surprised. Students also gathered around. But Ren Xiaosu didn't find an invincible voice. He asked, Invincible? Do you see invincibility? At this moment, everyone's eyes dodged. Apparently I don't know how to answer. Lao Wang opened his mouth at this time. Senior brother. He had been away for a while. 6 Yuan hurriedly echoed. When the invincible brother left. Beat the demons of the 10 directions. Stepping on thousands of ghosts. But handsome, colorful clouds appeared in the sky at that time. It's like a heavenly gate. It should be that the heavenly soldiers will pick him up in the future. He is indeed the Monkey King. Lu Yuan said to Ren Xiaosu with a smile, while turning his face and secretly wiping away tears. Ren Xiaosu didn't doubt it too much after hearing this. I just started to worry about the current situation. Invincible is not there. In this team, he is the only one who can fight. He had to recover right away. In order to ensure everyone's safety, Ren Xiaosu let 6 Yuan weave a tent. He's going to use nanobots. Put together the broken pieces of bone in your body. And all this cannot be discovered by other refugees. The pain of bone grafting is not tolerable for the average person. Each piece of bone. Ren Xiaosu was so painful that he almost fainted. That's when it happened. A refugee approached the tent with bad intentions. Ren Xiaosu, in order to recover his body as soon as possible, utilizing nanobots, greet the broken bone fragments in your body one by one. Just as he passed out in pain, a refugee is attracted by the strange noise in the tent. Fortunately, he kept his tent. The 6 Yuan outside the tent found him in time. 6 Yuan people don't talk much. Hold the dagger and touch the man's back. Simply dealt with him neatly. Then warn others. Who dares to sneak close to here again? That's the end. The other refugees were clearly frightened by the $6 look. The body keeps retreating. But he said fiercely that he would wait for the Li army to come back. and report all their evil deeds. Let the people of the army come and sanction them. Then said Cao Cao. Cao Cao arrived. Li's troops happened to rush back. Lu Yuan clenched the dagger. The eyes are determined, always ready for unknown conflicts. When refugees see the army, it's like a straw. A swarm rushed forward, asked the chief for alms and some food to save them. But the commander ordered the soldiers to raise their guns and stand on guard. They are forbidden to come near. Prevent spies from mixing in their crowd. It turned out that the first line of Qingxing Mountain in the north had fallen. Yang's troops will arrive soon. No one has access to these refugees. Then the Li troops set off and drove away. Ren Xiaosu saw this situation. Immediately shouted 6 yuan. Let them go into the mountains. Don't linger here. But I haven't had time to leave yet. The people of the Yang army arrived. Look at the hordes of refugees. The commander of the Yang clan's troops feared that there were spies hiding inside. 2 reinforcing companies were left. Let the refugees themselves build a refugee camp here, so that they can be kept under strict supervision. And the refugees were given daily drudgery. Then, 6 yuan began to worry about Ren Xiaosu, who had not recovered from serious injuries. So I had the mentality of giving it a try. Walked up to the chief and asked the sir, "Do you know Miss Yang?" Unexpectedly, not only did the chief not know him, I also mistakenly thought that 6 yuan wanted to find a relationship and be lazy. He angrily scolded him. This 6 yuan is not light. But he had to pull down his face. Continue to ask if you can do the work for others. The chief said as long as you can do whatever you want. This is Wang Fugue patting 6 yuan on the head. Let him not worry. Everyone will help get through it together. It's been a busy night. 6 or 7 pieces of wood were transported. Wang Fugue felt that he was dying. However, they still had to carry 4 or 5 sticks before they could rest. This is a refugee. Seeing this, don't forget to sarcastically mock him. Aren't you amazing? If you have the ability, don't work. Lu Yuan was furious when he heard this, but he could only whisper helplessly, I wish I could have my brother's abilities. These people can be changed. Sister Xiaoyu comforted gently on the side. I used to hate being alone. They will curse him in their hearts. There are several ways to play for him. It's relieving to think about it. 6 yuan with the mentality of giving it a try, silently cursed in his heart that the man walked and fell. However, the next second, the refugee suddenly tripped over a stone, hit the ground with a bang. This makes Lu Yuan and Sister Xiaoyu look down on him. The curse turned out to be a reality. Suddenly, 6 yuan stumbled under his feet, fell directly on the snow. Luckily, it didn't matter. However, Liu Yuan's heart was full of waves. Is a curse the same as a wish? There is also a backlash. Does that mean that he has the ability to curse? Lu Yuan inadvertently discovers that he has the ability to curse. So he immediately told his brother Xiaosu about it. Convenient. Xiaosu thought for a moment and said, Then you try to curse me. Wait to eat potatoes. Choke and cough a few times. Lu Yuan said helplessly. We are in a refugee camp. There are no potatoes to eat. However, with the mentality of giving it a try, 6 yuan cursed silently in his heart. That's when it happened. There was a shout outside the door that someone had dug up a lot of potatoes. It seems that a potato field has been found. 6 yuan was shocked and could still operate like this. Leave this cart aside. Ren Xiaosu excitedly urged him to dig potatoes quickly. Soldiers sitting around the fire baking potatoes. I can't help but sigh. This group of refugees is really lucky. You can find potatoes in this wilderness. Only Ren Xiaosu understands in his heart. $6. It should have the ability of luck and curse together. But as far as he knew, the abilities of the transcendent are very concrete. Whether it is Su Xinchu's shadow, it's still Luo Sinyu's shadow gate, and Yang Xiaojin's sniper rifle. There are only 6 yuan of positive ability, which cannot be seen or touched. Ren Xiaosu thought as he took a bite of the potato. As a result, I immediately choked. I also coughed a few times. He had almost forgotten that it was he who was cursed, and the matter of 6 yuan has also been counterattacked, but only coughed gently. On this day, Lao Wang happily found Xiaosu. Say tonight. You don't have to sleep in a tent with a lot of wind. Let him quickly pack his things and prepare to move the place. After that, Lao Wang took everyone. Stay in a freshly built cabin. But this also made the refugees outside the door jealous. If you open your mouth, why do you live in the house first? We all built this house together. Is it cool for Yang to be a grandson? The swear words have just been finished. $6 rushed out of the house. The refugees were given a gantry flying foot. It hurt so much that he couldn't stand on his knees. Then Xiaoyu on the side also put down her cruel words. Let me hear who is behind the orchestration of Lao Wang. Don't blame us for being polite. One counts as one. I have to die on the spot. The refugees were so frightened by this momentum that they flinched. I guess I won't dare to cause trouble again in the future. And Ren Xiaosu in the house also found the injury on Lao Wang's hand. Hurriedly asked what was going on. Lao Wang smiled silently. It just so happened that 6 yuan walked in at this time and explained. Lao Wang wants everyone to move in advance. Take advantage of the rest. Ran to put a set on the officers of the Yang family. Beat your back and pinch your shoulders. Served tea and poured water. One of the officers didn't realize that it was boiling water. It was scalded. As a result, he beat Lao Wang. A meal of the old king in order to please them. I have to pour water again with a smiling face. Ren Xiaosu listened. Said to Lao Wang, although we are through difficulties together. But you don't need to sacrifice your dignity. Lao Wang said earnestly that he was trying to escape. You're all hurt like this. When I first ran away, even the students are willing to use grenades to fight the test subjects. But I spare my life. I have to take care that the big dragon can't die. So I can't do what you can do for the team. Then you can't do it. Just let me do it. You don't have to feel sorry for it. This is what I should do. A few days passed. The potatoes in the camp are almost finished. 6 yuan is worried about where to get some food. Ren Xiaosu stepped forward. Quietly Mimi said that she would be on the construction site tomorrow. You cursed Qingzheng and was hit by squirrel. The confused 6 yuan doesn't know what my brother means. Ren Xiaosu said with a wicked smile. You just wait to see the show. If you have the ability to curse others, what you'll use it for. On this day, Li Qingzheng and 6 yuan came to the vicinity of the construction site. 6 yuan recalled in his mind. Ren Xiaosu told him about the plan last night. When he arrived at the construction site, he cursed Li Qingzheng for being hit by a pine stone. Lu Yuan had just finished cursing in his mind. The next second, Bai Bao makes him partial, is in the middle of Li Qingzheng, Tianling cover. He was so angry that he scolded you for being a murderer. Why is it so unqualified? 6 yuan was stealing fun on the side. This can't be all blamed on the little murderer. And the squirrel turned his head and ran away. I didn't know that I had been targeted by 6 yuan. 6 yuan chased all the way to the squirrel's nest. The squirrels are then stored for the winter. Pulled it all out. 6 yuan secretly praised in his heart that his brother's plan was really powerful. It turned out that Ren Xiaosu told 6 yuan last night. Once Li Qingzheng was hit by squirrel poop, just immediately followed the squirrel. Dig out his nest. And this curse. There is also a corresponding backlash, meaning he can dig out 2 squirrel nests. 6 yuan took out a bag full of peanuts. Finally, we don't have to worry about everyone going hungry. At this time, a woman walked up to 6 yuan. Tell me if you can give me something to eat. Just let me eat something. You can do whatever you want. 6 yuan also confirmed it after listening. You can really do anything. The woman was shy and said of course she could. So 6 yuan pointed to the wood in the distance and said, Carry us wood. Carry to the camp. The name of the promasa in the registration. Then come to me to get peanuts. The woman was speechless. Then 6 yuan simply sat on the ground and shouted, Who helped us carry a piece of wood? You can get 5 large peanuts from me. Places are limited. First come, first served. The little fish on the side was relieved when they saw it. In terms of methods, these brothers are still reliable. In the evening, 6-Yuan couldn't help but admire. Everyone is well fed today. There's a lot less work to do. Ren Xiaosu said that the future will get better and better. However, 6-Yuan began to worry about tomorrow again, but on the idea of ghosts. Or Ren Xiaosu, he told 6-Yuan early tomorrow morning. You cursed Li Qingzheng when he walked. I tripped over a radish leaf. The day after tomorrow, he cursed Li Qingzheng when he peed. I was hit on the head by a wild date on a tree. So the brothers conspired all night. Arrange all the curses of this month on Li Qingzheng's head. However, their ability to find food is too conspicuous. It has attracted the attention of many people. On this day, a very strong man found 6-Yuan. The boy uses the curse ability to find food. It attracted the attention of many refugees. This day, a man with strong muscles finds the boy. Say you have a strong ability to find food. Would you like to consider joining our team? 6-Yuan heard this. Instantly angry and ruined your mother's search for food. Is it capable? Myself. This is obviously a very terrible curse ability, okay? How did it become wilderness survivability? I really don't know the goods. This is a man who introduces himself. Tried to convince June. You can call me Brother Chow in the future. In this world, we have to huddle together to survive. You have so many girls with you. There are also the wounded. How long can you survive in this world? You can't just do it alone. 6-Yuan knows what kind of medicine he sells in his gourd. So he said, hey, Brother Chow, you are also worthy. There is only one person in this world who is worthy of being my brother. But the man didn't care about him. You're talking about your crippled brother. He could have been great before, but now he's so badly wounded. It can only be regarded as a waste that can't take care of itself. In this world, you can't be rash. You'll be dragged down by him. The man scoffed. Don't forget to pretend to comfort 6-Yuan. 6-Yuan shook off the man's hand. He also pulled out a dagger at him. $6 does not allow anyone in front of himself. Speaking ill of my brother. The man couldn't convince 6-Yuan when he saw it. Then he put down the cruel words. You really think we dare not touch you? There are only a few of you. I don't know what to do at a young age. We'll see you at the site in the evening. Wait for you to answer. See what your brother does. And those female dolls around you. I'm afraid it's better to live than to die. After the man finished speaking, he snorted coldly and left. However, just a conversation. Ren Xiaosu heard it clearly in the house. He told $6 not to worry. I've almost recovered from my injuries. Wait for a chance to get out of here in the evening. In the evening, the group of refugees was plotting. How will you kill people and kill people? While playing poker, suddenly, a hand fell silent. 3 cards of poker were placed on the table. The refugees were wondering when they found out. They didn't make this card. Can be a second. There was a violent explosion inside the house. It turns out that this poker is exactly that. The burst poker that Ren Xiaosu prepared for them. Take advantage of the chaos. Ren Xiaosu led everyone to prepare to escape. But just open the door. 3 soldiers were already vigilantly guarding the outside of the house. Ren Xiaosu secretly exclaimed. Young's reaction speed was much quicker than expected. I'm afraid tonight's escape plan will fail. This group of refugees never thought of it. They are just fighting a landlord with 4 and 3. But they blew up the house. Ren Xiaosu wanted to take advantage of the chaos to escape, only to find that the soldiers were already guarding the house. He couldn't help but sigh at the swift action of the Li troops. Also understand tonight. They lost their best chance of escaping. Maybe you can only wait for yourself to recover. Let everyone out to kill. But that's a last resort. At this time, a man covered in blood escaped. Ren Xiaosu couldn't help but complain. It seems that the power of 4 threes is limited. It's all alive. At this time, the man was also surrounded by soldiers. The chief suspects that the refugee is a hidden spy. Weapons were also hidden. The men tried to explain that they were just playing cards. Who knew that the 4 threes really blew up? The chief thought he was taking them for fools. So he was going to be dragged to the interrogation room overnight and tortured. Suddenly, the man seemed to think of something. Immediately shouted at the chief that I understood. It must have been Yin 6 yuan, and they did it. We just had some trouble with him tonight. I was going to beat them. As a result, they were the first to strike. After hearing this, Lao Wang immediately retorted to the sir. He's slandering us. None of us were out of the house just now. Besides, we were so far away from their house. If we did it, someone will see it. So the chief immediately asked the refugees on the side. As a result, everyone shook their heads and said they hadn't seen it. In the end, the man was ruthlessly dragged away. Although Ren Xiaosu and they escaped. But the chief was still suspicious. Tell his subordinates to keep an eye on Lao Wang and them in the near future. At night, screams came from the barracks of the Yang army. Under the torture of Yang's confession, men have been tortured beyond recognition. He really can't hold it. I had to admit that I was a spy. I hoped to give him a good time. And that's when the chief sensed that something was wrong. If this man is really a spy, why blow yourself up? With doubts, he began to ask his men on the side, is there anything special about Wang Fugue's group? The men thought for a moment. He replied that there were a lot of wounded in their team. It's kind of weird, because the wounded can't get out of the barrier at all. Suddenly, the chief remembered Ren Xiaosu. I remember that his injuries were quite serious at that time. There seemed to be more than a dozen fractures. There can be more than a dozen fractures. Why is there no trace of trauma on the body? So how did these dozen fractures come about? His subordinates also felt that all this did not seem right. Thereupon, the chief took his men down in the middle of the night to Ren Xiaosu's residence. Decided to find out. Ren Xiaosu led everyone to escape from the Yang family. Regardless of the name of the camp, burst poker. A mess was sparked, but accidentally set himself on fire. In the middle of the night, Chief Yang made a surprise inspection. Asked Ren Xiaosu not to communicate. Write down the cause of the injury. And when Ren Xiaosu and his party wrote it, the chief was surprised to find the causes of their injuries were surprisingly consistent. It's all caused by car accidents. I thought maybe I was overthinking. Then he turned and left. The student on the side asked Ren Xiaosu, how did you know they were going to come to check the wound? Ren Xiaosu said he didn't know. Just in case, you prepared in advance. After all, there are no external injuries all over the body. Only car accidents are more reasonable. But now Yang is starting to doubt them. Ren Xiaosu has understood this place for a long time. So it was late at night. Ren Xiaosu uses the same means. Put it in every soldier's room. Burst poker. Accompanied by a series of explosions, they sounded. Refugees are in chaos. Yuan Xiaosu and his entourage had already packed their luggage. Flee out. But their luck was so bad. Not a few steps yet. Was surrounded by the Yang troops who rushed in. At this time, a commander stepped forward and shouted. And all went back to their rooms. Violators are summarily shot. Where is the head of the camp? Why did there be a riot? A soldier said, their chiefs. He died in an inexplicable explosion just now. And they carefully collected the weapons of the refugees. I don't know where the bomb came from, but he felt. This is inseparable from people's small facts. That's when it happened. A truck stopped in front of everyone. Yang Xiaojing walked out of the car. And he said, the person in charge came to see me. The chief recognized Yang Xiaojing's identity at a glance. Immediately and respectfully stepped forward to report. Subsequently, Yang Xiaojing saw Xiaosu in the crowd at a glance. So he pointed at Ren Xiaosu and said, I'm looking for him. And I'm going to take these people. You go through the formalities. But the chief was embarrassed. They're looking into a spy case. And they are the main suspects. Yang Xiaojing was displeased when he heard the road behind. You mean my friend is a spy? So what am I? This is my young people. It's just that you don't know your level enough. Are you sure you want to catch them? Faced with questioning, the chief instantly broke out in a cold sweat. Said that he did not dare to go. Previously, Yang Xiaojing also requisitioned a truck. Prepare to take Ren Xiaosu to shelter number 88. Trucks. Yang Xiaojing asked him with concern if he was seriously injured. The 6 members on the side spoke directly. There are 17 fractures in the body. There were also 4 comminuted fractures. After hearing this, Ren Xiaosu hurriedly told him to shut up. After all, you can't look like you're empty in front of your wife. And in this matter, Barrier 88 came to talk about cooperation with Yang. The fat man of Luo was packing up his things and preparing to leave. After all, the Li clan must have been wiped out. The cooperation between Qing and Yang is almost over. But when he left, was stopped by Yang's soldiers. It turned out to be in the battle against the Li clan last night. The Qing clan suddenly withdrew their troops and broke the contract. Caused Yang to fight alone. Heavy casualties. So Luo Fatsi was forced to become a hostage. He was placed under house arrest by Yang. Luo Fatsi understands in his heart. Qingji will definitely not give up on them. The only explanation is, I'm afraid it's no longer a celebration in the army. Qingji as a prefect. How deep is it to win the hearts of the people? This side of the celebration command camp. Zhou Qi, secretary of the presidium of the celebration, was ordered to come. Escort the Qing clinic back. However, the soldiers under Qingji wanted to resist. Keqing knew that there were still family members in the lightning shelter. Don't be impulsive. Fight well with Chief Qi. Don't disgrace me. On the way to the escort, Zhou Qi couldn't help but mock Qingji. Qingyun fought a bad battle. As soon as you come, the front line united with the Yang clan to defeat the Li clan. But if you let Li not fight, the bureau would not have moved so quickly. So you're really smart. It's still stupid. Qingzhan smiled slightly after hearing this. It's not that he doesn't understand. Just disdainful. I don't hit Li. The Li family will come and beat me. When the time comes, the lives of soldiers will be used to cooperate with the acting. I can't do it. Besides, don't you just go back and continue to be under house arrest? What's the big deal? Zhou Qi said coldly. You think you'll be under house arrest after you kill Qingyun? It's not that simple this time. At this time, the escort car also used the number 111 coin. And the opera garden in the long area of the Qing clinic in the barrier was sealed. The people inside were also arrested for this. I have to say, what the Presidium did this time was a real decision. And then the escort vehicle is at the distance to the destination, 21 kilometers halfway up the mountain. Stopped. Because the Presidium thought. Shame him. Tell him to walk up the hill. You have to take off your shoes and walk barefoot. Qingji looked at the scenery below the mountain. Sighed that it was a pity. It's just a pity that I don't know who this sentence is addressed to. I didn't move for a long time. So Zhou Qi ordered the soldiers to take off his shoes. However, the soldier was embarrassed when he heard the order. Motionless. At this time, Qingji stepped forward and said, I remember you. Your name is Squidward. He made meritorious contributions when he killed the Tinder company. Your name is Wang Hang. He is also my soldier. Is your mother feeling better? Even the soldiers didn't think about it. These little things are all in the minds of the chiefs. In fact, Qingji knows it in his heart. They are all elite soldiers. But because he was chained here, I was a watchdog. He didn't want to embarrass them. You must know that there are no shadows in the history of the Qing clan. Like him, they all bowed their heads. But he's different. Because his name is Qingji. On the way up the mountain, Zhou Qi asked angrily, why did you withdraw your troops from the pit Yang last night? You must know that Luo Fatsi is still in the Yang family. Qingji smiled and said, because I know. You're going to get me. Luo Fatsi stayed on Yang's side. It would be safer than being by my side. Conversations along the way. Qingji walked 21 kilometers up the mountain, finally reached the top of the mountain, and Zhou Qi shouted behind him that the deadline was approaching. Have you figured it out? Qingji replied and thought about it. Then he walked on his bleeding feet, walked into the presidium of the celebration room. The men were forced to walk barefoot on a 21-kilometer mountain road, and when they arrived at the trial venue, his feet were already covered in blood. Then, The old man headed by the presidium of the celebration said, "You know that you are wrong." The man said with a calm face, "I know what is wrong." The old man charged him with several crimes, and all of them are capital offenses. Because Qingji does not die, they are not at ease. Hearing this, Qingji walked to the window, sighed silently. "I don't want to be a shadow anymore. Rather, it should be celebrated. The Lord of the world." When the people of the presidium heard this, they shouted angrily, and death was imminent. Dare to be so rampant. But it was as if he hadn't heard what they were saying. Just turned his head and asked Zhouqi, "I have already thought about it. Do you think about it?" I only heard Zhouqi reply, "Willing to serve you." Then the water vapor in the air turned into a white line, caught in his hands. He waved his hand. Countless white lines instantly choked the necks of each presidium member. It's like being choked by the throat of fate. Meanwhile, bursts of gunfire rang out outside. Countless soldiers swarmed up. In an instant, the venue of the presidium was controlled. The big picture is decided. Zhouqi couldn't help but complain, "You don't let Luo Fatsi come back. Don't you worry about me?" It's sad. However, Qingji is really not at ease. After all, there are fortune-tellers who say that he has a backbone in the back of his head. At this time, the old man still wanted to struggle. Said that you are not afraid that Qingyi will raise troops to come back and kill you. But the old man would never have thought of it. Qingyi has long been a person of Qingji. Originally, Qingji also wanted them to walk 21 kilometers in the snow, leak powder. But there is no need to face the dying man. So the order was given to strangle all the people of the presidium directly. Deal with it all. Qingji turned and left. He still has a lot to do. For example, how to issue new decrees, and how to get Luofat out of Yang. Meanwhile, Ren Xiaosu also reached barrier number 88. He lamented that all the barriers were the same. It's just that the Yang family has a wife. At this time, Yang Xiaojin also sighed. The war wasn't supposed to go so well. It is said that the Li family has committed a major espionage case. Leak all the defense maps of the forward positions. Ren Xiaosu echoed with a weak heart. Yes, this spy is amazing. Yang Xiaojing doesn't come out and praises you a few words. You're really heavenly. I know that person is you. No one else but you has this difficulty. Ren Xiaosu saw that it was debunked. I had to smile awkwardly. Yang Xiaojing will be the residents of Xiaosu and Luo Fatsi. Arranged together. Luo Fatsi was also gloating when he saw Ren Xiaosu. Have you been caught too? Ren Xiaosu said that you misunderstood. We're not in a different situation. Subsequently, Jiang Qingji told the fat man about the successful seizure of power. After hearing this, Luo Fatsi was shocked and played with the calf. Yang, how can you let me go? After Qingshi solved the Qingshi Presidium, officially became the Lord of the World, and Luo Fatsi, who was under house arrest in Yangshi, found out. Sad and happy. After all, Yangshi would definitely not let him go so easily. But think of the older brother who became the Lord of Kyo. That's also doubly faced. I was excited to climb the wall, catch up with Xiaosu. Ren Xiaosu hurriedly waved his hand and refused. I'm afraid that Luo Fatsi, a prisoner, will affect them. This made Luo Fat angry not lightly. Angrily said, I have money. As soon as I heard about the money, Ren Xiaosu immediately changed as if he were a person. It doesn't matter if it's money or not. I just want to invite you to come and sit with us. And the fat man Luo, who just entered the house, was attracted by a group of beautiful girls. Do you remember me? I'm Roland. Now he is the elder brother of the Lord of Kyo. The girls heard such a shameless self-introduction. It's also quite speechless. In the evening, Luo Fatsi is also waiting for his face. Stayed and ate a hot pot meal. Early the next morning, Xiao Jing came to Ren Xiaosu's residence. Ren Xiaosu had asked him before, help everyone find a university to study in the barriers. But since they are not natives, to prevent the leakage of confidentiality, they can't go to college here. But 6 Yuan and Dalong are only in junior high school. So Yang Xiaojing completed their school registrations in advance. This also caused an outcry from the two children. Although Ren Xiaosu couldn't go to school, but Xiaojing is still intimate. Handled the library borrower for him, so that he can go and read the books you want to read. However, when I came to the library early in the morning, it was not yet open. At this time, Uncle Administrator came from behind. Explained, "It's winter vacation. There are few people, so the door usually opens a little later." Uncle said, "But the heart does not fall. I don't know where the child came from on vacation." Suddenly I vowed to study hard. He has seen a lot of this kind of half-baked students. It's up to him how long he can last. Ren Xiaosu was not polite after entering the library. It's linear algebra. Then there is chemical biophysics. It seems that he also understands how to learn mathematics, physics, and chemistry well. The truth that you are not afraid to go all over the world. So under the silent attention of the administrator's uncle, Ren Xiaosu was motionless like this, saw the sun set. However, on the way back, Ren Xiaosu immediately became alert. It seems that a woman in a cheongsam has been following her. This woman in a cheongsam. It was none other than Zhou Xue of Meads. She is the Lord of Fengyang. That is, Yang Xiaojing. The order of the third uncle went to monitor Ren Xiaosu's every move. However, surveillance lasted all day. Ren Xiaosu stayed in the library honestly. Haven't been out. But the third uncle always felt that something was wrong in his heart. If only it were an ordinary outcast. How could it be possible to attract Xiaojing? He felt the need to send Zhou Xue to test it. The next day, Ren Xiaosu came to the library early in the morning to read books as usual. He mainly wanted to learn knowledge in mechanical engineering, and he worked so hard. Also it can make a more suitable set of outerwear-style armor. But the librarian said, "I want to learn mechanics systematically. You have to learn math and physics first." Subsequently, recommended a series of mechanical-related books to Xiaosu. I didn't expect this administrator to be a hidden god. Ren Xiaosu is even 500 yuan per class. He was hired to teach his classmates. And this administrator happens to be quite short of money. So he immediately agreed. That's when it happened. Zhou Xue also took the opportunity to come to the library. "I'm going to test Ren Xiaosu." However, Ren Xiaosu recognized it at a glance. This is the woman who stalked him last night. So he faced Zhou Xue's accosting. Ren Xiaosu didn't even lift his eyelids. Just a symbolic reply ante is good. This can make Zhou Xue start to doubt life. I wonder if I'm really that old. But soon she adjusted her mindset. After that, she wanted to invite Ren Xiaosu. Help yourself find a book called Introduction to Time. Ren Xiaosu wanted to refuse. Unexpectedly, the system popped up a task prompt. Find the right place for books for seekers. Can be confronted with a random system. Ren Xiaosu was also cheeky and continued to get stuck with the bug. He said, "The Introduction to Time must be in this library. Do you want to find it yourself?" Zhou Xue was speechless after hearing this. Why don't you say it's on this earth? However, the system sends a message that the task is complete. A set of foundation-level skill learning graphs is also awarded. It's a casual system. It's a big difference with a casual host. In the end, the administrator had to deliver the book himself. And Zhou Xue, who has been deflated repeatedly, has already been angry. I thought to myself, this is called Ren Xiaosu. I'm afraid there's something wrong with my brain. There are so many people chasing the old lady. Just she called me Auntie. The more Zhou Xue thought about it, the more angry she became. So he closed the book with all his might. Furious, he left the library. Ren Xiaosu in order to make external armor. Every day, I come to the library to learn the theory of mechanical manufacturing. But I didn't expect it. Uncle Librarian is actually a hidden god. So they hired an uncle to teach them with a high salary. As soon as he came up, Ren Xiaosu proposed. What discipline does it take to start with the manufacture of armor? However, the uncle said that this kind of thing, I can't make it, unless controlled nuclear fusion is developed to solve the power problem. But the key challenge is how. Command the whole body armor to listen to the command. But Ren Xiaosu said that this is not a problem. After all, he has a large number of nanobots on him. The uncle thought he was bragging. Afterwards, Uncle started with basic theoretical knowledge for them. I have to say, this ordinary-looking administrator uncle. However, he knows the mechanical aspects well. Even Ren Xiaosu couldn't help complaining. You're so powerful. Why don't you go to scientific research? Willing to be a little librarian here. Not even the money for a breakfast. The uncle said embarrassedly. I'm just playing mahjong, and my luck is too bad. Suddenly, Xiaosu remembered the basic learning map she had just gotten. If you can directly put the theoretical knowledge on the uncle, copy it, wouldn't it save a lot of time? Ren Xiaosu thought about it and used the skill map. But the skills that appeared surprised him. Playing mahjong master host or not. Ren Xiaosu showed a look of suspicion. I thought it was a master. Why do you still lose every day when you play mahjong? There must be something wrong with this person. After class, Ren Xiaosu didn't plan to go back. Instead, I came to a martial arts hall. This is the place where Xiao Jing recommended it to him to practice martial arts. What Xiaosu didn't expect was, the so-called martial artist turned out to be an old acquaintance. He is Lu Yuan, the former manager of Barrier 109. Since helping Yang get the hard drive back, he stepped back into the line. Retirement in the martial arts hall. After a simple pleasantries, Lu Yuan began to teach Xiaosu the power skills of the system. He fetches sandbags. Let Xiaosu hit with all his might. Test his power level. I saw Ren Xiaosu with a left hook. A right leg knocked the sandbag almost out of shape. This also looked at Lu Yuan, who was stunned. He said he didn't need to learn how to do it. Coincidentally, you can directly enter the teaching of practical skills. After saying that, Lu Yuan put on a fighting posture. While Xiaosu hasn't reacted yet, an over-the-shoulder fall knocked him to the ground. Ren Xiaosu just wanted to get up and fight back. Lu Yuan attacked again. Throws Xiaosu, who is unstable in his center of gravity, to the ground. Then used the scissors to poke. In an instant, Xiaosu was subdued and unable to move. This lesson let Ren Xiaosu deeply understand what Lao 6 is. And Lu Yuan said that the action idea is just the action idea. If it's not fast enough, it's not stable enough. All this is useless. So it's still important to practice diligently. Ren Xiaosu didn't expect it. The first lesson was very rewarding. On the way back, Ren Xiaosu heard the familiar shouting of playing mahjong. It was the voice of that librarian. The curious Xiaosu plans to find out. Let's see who exactly got him pitted. I saw the mahjong table. The two old men were blatantly stealing to change cards. Ren Xiaosu was stunned from the sidelines. Didn't he even notice such an obvious card change? So wait for the hand to end. Ren Xiaosu stepped forward and asked in a low voice. It's these old men and old women. You won't have any money to eat. Did you know that they secretly swapped cards? The uncle said with a nonchalant face that it was all a trivial matter. Ren Xiaosu suddenly realized. It turned out that he had been deliberately losing money. Those old men and old ladies. It was the family of the uncle who was a student. At that time, because of his negligence, this led to an explosion in the laboratory. As a student of his assistant, all died in the lab. He was expelled from the school after that. The girlfriend also broke up because of this. This is why he is obviously a school bully ant, but willingly reduced to librarianship, deliberately losing money. It is also for the elderly who have lost their children. Life is better. Ren Xiaosu didn't expect the uncle to be quite righteous, so he made an appointment to let him continue to give it tomorrow. After the class, Ren Xiaosu, who returned to his residence, found out. Everyone had been waiting for him at the door for a long time. The kindergarten informed them. Received an invitation from Young's dinner. It was also emphasized that they should be dressed in formal attire. In fact, everyone understands it in their hearts. This is where the dinner party is. This is clearly a Hongmin feast. Yuan Xiaosu took 6 yuan. Come to a high-end clothing store to buy a dress. But they were told by the owner of the clothing store that the clothes would not be sold to them, because there are regulations for Barrier 88. If you want to buy a formal suit, you have to have a public official status. Moreover, formal wear needs to be customized. It takes a month to customize alone. But they were last night. Received an invitation from Young's dinner. They were also reminded to dress modestly. At this time, Ren Xiaosu understood Yang's ill intentions. It turned out that the Yang family wanted to swear an oath to the throne. Give them a dismount. Let them understand. There is an insurmountable gap between Lu Ming and the consortium. Lu Yuan said angrily at this time. Yang is deliberately making things difficult for us. If we do, we won't go. Ren Xiaosu said nonchalantly, why not go? Before leaving the barrier. Always see and learn. This consortium set up a feast for them. What the hell is going on? And the two who went back happened to be seen by Luo Fatsi. When he learned that Xiaosu had eaten Yang's closed-door soup, he was so angry that he scolded. He said that he would go with them later. And let's go over in casual clothes. Xiaosu was afraid that Luo Fatsi would be blinded with them. But Luo Fatman smiled and said that they were friends. Besides, he is the younger brother of the lord of the Qing family. Look at which of them dares to make irresponsible remarks behind their backs. On the way to the dinner party, luxury cars sped past the three people. And Young, not even an electric car was prepared for them. The three of them held back the fire in their bellies. Finally walked to the door of the dinner. Ren Xiaosu thought that they would be protected if they didn't wear a dress. And made it difficult. But I didn't expect it. The security guard simply checked the list. It was successfully released. In this regard, Luo Fatsi is indeed not surprised at all. He told Xiaosu, the security guards of this kind of wealthy family are very smart. As long as you have an invitation, it doesn't matter what you're wearing. He will not be offended. After all, your invitation was given by his master. However, after entering the venue, the three of them were in front of the children of the richly dressed consortium. Looks out of place. Not for a while. The taunts of several conglomerate children were heard in my ears. These three turtles in civilian clothes. I don't know how I got in. Just on the way. I saw them coming on foot. I don't know who gave them the invitation. After Luo Fatsi heard it, immediately stepped forward to give Ren Xiaosu their anger. Whoever rules that they must wear a dress to attend a dinner party, can't I just wear casual clothes? The children of the consortium said with a dignified face, please be civil. This is the occasion of high society. I can't allow you to go wild. In the face of such people, Luo Fatman is not used to it. Slapped it directly. How do you talk to Lao Tzu? Do you know who I am? Dare to talk about Lao Tzu behind his back like this. Seeing the children of the consortium being beaten, immediately, someone surrounded Luo Fatsi. But Luo Fatman stood in the center of the venue. Domineering Dao listened. Lao Tzu's name is Roland. I'll see who dares to touch me. These people wore casual clothes to attend a wealthy dinner. Was ridiculed coldly by the children of the consortium. Seeing Xiaosu and 6 Yuan being bullied, Luo Fatsi rushed up and gave the man a slap in the face. Still standing in the center of the venue, Domineering shouted, who dares to touch me, try it. Just when the scene is at an impasse, Yang Xiaojin, dressed in casual clothes, appeared. He didn't pay any attention to the comments of the conglomerate kids around him. Instead, she came to Xiaosu like a little girl. It's not interesting to take his hand. Let's go out and take a look. Then he was taken out of the venue. After Ren Xiaosu came out, expressed his gratitude to Xiaojing who helped him relieve the siege. Xiaojing said that he didn't need to worry about anything with them. These people are still addicted to the world they have created. Complacent. But you and I both know that the world is about to change. After that, the two went to a handicraft shop for dinner. Young Xiaojing made a request to him. 7 days later, he will go to the northwest to dig up the grave with the clan. This is a common arrangement between the Yang family and the clan. He hoped that Xiaosu could accompany him. Ren Xiaosu thought of how he helped him during this time. So I agreed. And at this time, The venue of Qingyang Villa. The children of the consortium are still discussing. Who the hell was the teenager who was taken away? Until the third uncle Yang Xiaojin came to the venue. Su Xianchu, who was following behind him, couldn't help but quip. Who abducted your niece? The third uncle said with a disdainful face. A Lu Ming named Ren Xiaosu. Nothing. However, Su Xianchu's eyes glowed golden when he heard this name. Immediately asked where Ren Xiaosu went. Then explained to the third uncle. Ren Xiaosu is a brother I haven't seen for a long time. I'll leave to find him first. We'll talk about it tomorrow. Looked at Su Xianchu, who left. The third uncle clenched his fists. Thought that he still underestimated Ren Xiaosu. This left a name. One can be looked at differently by Xiaojin. A person who can also be regarded as a friend by Su Xianchu. Is it really an ordinary outcast? Originally, I wanted to introduce Xiaojing to Zhongqing behind him. It doesn't look like there's a chance tonight. After many inquiries, Su Xianchu also found Ren Xiaosu's residence. Looking at such an enthusiastic chef Su Xian, Xiaosu felt a little guilty in her heart. Thinking about the future. Try not to let Chef Su Xian take the blame for himself. He wasn't easy, either. Su Xianchu, who was a transcendent, under Ren Xiaosu's introduction. Soon it was heavily weighed at barrier 178. Depending on this, there is a voice of grievance from next door. The purpose of your here. Are you going to form an alliance with the Yang clan to celebrate our celebration? Qi Xianchu found out at this time. The next-door neighbor turned out to be Roland. He replied, Barrier 178 is not affiliated with any financial alliance. Luo Fatsi listened. A hanging heart finally let go. Ben Xiaosu knew the purpose of his trip. So he asked, Come. It was to discuss with the Yang clan the matter of joint suppression of bandits. Commander Zhang wants to reopen the trade channel. After getting Su Xianchu's affirmative reply, he then asked if the 178 barrier was not very desolate. You guys have something to sell. But Su Xianchu said that it was a secret. It is not yet possible to say. Ren Xiaosu felt that there must be a big secret in it. Something must have happened at the 178 barriers. Only then did Zhang Jingling go back suddenly. He remembered that Zhang Jingling had said to 6 people before, War will not save humanity. So what is the meaning behind this sentence? This man used to be capable. It's to summon a shadow. And now, this shadowback has evolved an iron pot. And this pot thief is strong. Even RPG rockets can be blocked. Even Ren Xiaosu was directly shocked when he saw it. Because the more he looks at this pot, the more familiar it becomes. It always feels like the big iron pot I used to use. Same. Even the notches in the pot are the same. In a trance, he understood. Is this the result of his long-term dumping? Su Xianchu looked at Ren Xiaosu in surprise. I thought he was shocked by his abilities. I couldn't help but feel a pound in my heart. Maybe it's because I'm getting stronger now. The pot is also slowly getting bigger. Maybe you can block the shells in the future. Ren Xiaosu smiled kindly, yes. It will get bigger and bigger in the future. But I thought about it in my heart. I'll throw the pot at him later. I don't feel guilty. At this time, Su Xianchu invited Ren Xiao again. Su went to the 178 barrier with himself, because he felt that the people over there were very friendly. There isn't as much intrigue as there are other barriers. But there are more than 30 people on Ren Xiaosu's side. So I asked him how much he could bring in. So many people. Su Xianchu obviously can't be the master. The main thing is to negotiate with the Yang family. He said he would return to the 178 barrier next week. Just tell Commander Zhang about this. Early the next morning, Ren Xiaosu came to the library hall as always. But I didn't expect to meet Zhou Xue again. Ren Xiaosu thought she was here to talk to her again. Inquire about intelligence. But others didn't even look at her. Just found a place to sit quietly. It's winter, though. But Zhou Xue was wearing a cheongsam and black silk. It was as if it didn't feel cold at all. Even Ren Xiaosu couldn't help but be curious. This woman is so frost-resistant. It can't be a transcendent being. Just as she was ready to continue the lecture, only to find out Uncle Administrator is already full of legs. Where is there still the heart to lecture? It can't be helped. Ren Xiaosu can only remember his own mastery. He took the Book of the King's Mercy. Take the initiative to find Zhou Yingxue. It's particularly interesting to say that this book is a good one. Recommend her to check it out. Zhou Yingxue didn't care about it at first. After reading a few pages, I gradually got up. In the seat of the colonel's front and auxiliary leaned back. Completely lost the previous temperament. I have to say that the human element is really damaged. After destroying the nature of Uncle Administrator, he also smiled and asked him to continue to lecture with peace of mind. Until noon on lunch break, Zhou Yingxue found Ren Xiaosu to return the books and begged him to do himself a favor. Ren Xiaosu didn't even think about it, but he refused. But at this moment, the system sends a task prompt to help the woman who asks for help. So Ren Xiaosu, who had just refused to help, he turned around and asked what she needed to do. Zhou Yingxue said shyly that today was her birthday. I hope Ren Xiaosu can spend it with her tonight, then play something that one person can't play. The woman is inviting the man in front of her. Spend tonight's birthday with her. Also shy to say, it is possible to play a little game that can only be played by two people. In the face of such an invitation from a sexy woman, Ren Xiaosu excitedly proposed. Can I play with jumping bands tonight? I jumped the rubber band and slipped away. Zhou Yingxue was speechless at this big straight man. But I want to try it again. After all, two people can't play jumping rubber bands. But what she didn't expect was that Ren Xiaosu turned his head and pulled the administrator uncle. This made the uncle very excited. I want to join right away. At this moment, Zhou Yingxue was really helpless to give up. Hurriedly waved his hand to indicate that he would not play. However, the system will immediately send a message that the task has failed. This is scary, and Xiaosu is anxious, shouting out that this game must be played today. Finally, he also completed the task. Obtained a perfect level learning graph. Now that you have got such a good map, of course it can't be wasted. You have to learn some supernatural abilities. So Ren Xiaosu came up with the idea of 6 yuan. When he got home, he immediately found 6 yuan. Then used the perfection skill graph. However, the system shows that it cannot be used on the target. Ren Xiaosu was a little surprised. This has never happened before. Why $6 is an accident? That winter, he was met in the wilderness for $6. I wanted to leave him alone, but I always feel uneasy. So he decided to take the 6 yuan home. The first person 6 yuan woke up and saw was Ren Xiaosu. And the first thing he said was brother. In this way, Ren Xiaosu took him in. Since then, he has become a brother of 6 yuan. Ren Xiaosu would never have thought of it. The younger brother that I picked up by accident is so special. But at this moment, suddenly, several gunshots rang out in the next room. And that side is the residence of Luo Fatsi, Ren Xiao. Su Wenxing immediately ran out. He climbed over the fence to check. Several masked bandits were found shooting inside the house. Obviously, Luo Fatsi was plotted by someone, and the two as friends. Ren Xiaosu naturally will not sit idly by. He snatched the weapons of the bandits. Several shots were fired into the distance. Several bandits were killed on the spot. After dealing with all this, he immediately called out to Fat Luo to come out. It means that the people outside have solved it all by themselves. Luo Fatsi was also afraid for a while at this time. He didn't expect that someone would come and kill him. Thankfully, we didn't let our guard down. The fat man looked at the bandits who were solved in an instant. Secretly asked the subordinates next to him, "Have you seen how Ren Xiaosu moved his hands?" But the subordinates said they didn't see it clearly. This made Luo Fatsi feel that Ren Xiaosu was becoming more and more mysterious. But now the first thing is to find out who the masked man is. Luo Fatsi sent someone to search for a punch. But nothing suspicious was found. Then analyze it yourself. Nothing was analyzed. Ren Xiaosu didn't have any hope. The fat man can analyze the identity of the murderer. After all, there are no clues. How to guess the murderer by guessing? He just told the fat man. If you want him to do it to the outside world, don't say that she helped him. After all, he will leave the barrier the day after tomorrow to suppress the bandits. I don't want to make any more extraneous branches. However, the fat man was worried about Xiaosu after he left. There is no one to protect themselves. Ren Xiaosu said that he was gone, and he was still 6 yuan present. The fat man heard that a small child came to protect himself. I instantly felt offended. How hard it is to deal with the people inside the barriers. Obviously knew that they were acting with each other. But you still have to cooperate. Today it is the Yang family and the clan. The days of going to the northwest to suppress bandits together. So early in the morning, Zongqing came to visit Ren Xiaosu. I hope that I can take care of the bandits on the way. I also specially sent my hometown specialty wolfberry. It's just that this gift is only Wang Fu. You may be in demand. The weasel must be uneasy and kind to give the chicken a New Year's greeting. But the appearance still has to be done. Be loyal and grateful. After leaving, Ren Xiaosu was also speechless. No thank you coins arrived. It shows that this thank you is not sincere at all. I have to cooperate with the scene. Xiaosu is really tired. 6 yuan, don't forget to say Brother Dao. You were smiling sincerely. I thought you were going to recognize him as a brother. Ren Xiaosu sneered. How could it be with his brother? Don't look at who your brother is. That's when it happened. There was a sudden knock on the door. Ren Xiaosu thought that Zongcheng was back. After opening the door, I immediately changed into a profession. How did the fake smile come back? Brother, however, it was Liang Xiaojin standing at the door. The third uncle embarrassed Ren Xiaosu. Immediately welcome him into the house and sit down. As soon as the third uncle entered the door, he began to pretend to apologize. Said that the dinner party was considered inappropriately. Lack of preparation when they are brought to the dinner party. Ren Xiaosu also cooperated with a smirk. I'm just a homeless. It would be nice to go and see what the dinner party was like. However, the real purpose of the third uncle's visit. It is to test the bottom of Ren Xiaosu. After all, Zhou Yinxue had failed to make 2 attempts before. He had to come to the door to find out in person. After a short conversation, the third uncle was surprised to learn. Ren Xiaosu turned out to be Zhang Jingming's apprentice. No wonder Su Xianchu can be reused in the 178 barrier. It's no wonder that Su Xianchu didn't even care about the banquet. Go to him too. However, Ren Xiaosu also said, the teacher had intended to let himself succeed him. It's just that the time is not yet ripe. At this time, even the third uncle didn't dare to underestimate Ren Xiaosu anymore. In the future, it will definitely not hinder Xiaojing's interaction with him. After all, as long as Xiaojing is good friends with him. In the future, we will have a good relationship with the 178 barriers. Wouldn't it be easy? After the third uncle left, Ren Xiaosu found Luo. The fat man inquired about the information of this person in Zongcheng. Luo Fatsi said that Zongcheng had never heard of it. But the people of the clan are a pack of hunting dogs. No serious consortium wants to deal with them. Let Xiaosu still be careful. After that, Yang Xiaojing drove to take over from Xiaosu. The small scene in the car can't help but be a little curious. What did Ren Xiaosu say to his third uncle? Why is there such a big change in attitude? I even let myself get along with him. But Jean still advised him. Don't be deceived by his third uncle's appearance. After all, he only has profit in his eyes. But Ren Xiaosu didn't care at all. What kind of person is his third uncle? I just want to know Xiaojin's attitude. But Xiaojin blushed and said that he would not tell you. Look at his shy and cute appearance. Ren Xiaosu actually felt the feeling of heartbeat. When a child has the ability to curse, how terrible it is. The woman attends her brother's parent-teacher conference for the first time. But I didn't expect to be named by the head teacher. The head teacher said, his brother's grades were far inferior to others, and their class is a rocket class. The teacher's lecture will come with a lot of extracurricular content. He was worried that they had a bad foundation. Can't keep up with the pace of learning. Sister Xiaoyu was a little unhappy after hearing this. What do you mean? Lu Yuan and Wang Dalong are very smart. How could it be that you can't keep up with the pace of learning? He knew it in his heart. The head teacher is clearly looking down on them. Lu Ming's identity. I want to use this excuse to dissuade me from quitting. The head teacher was still pretending. The school decides that it's all for their good. Sister Xiaoyu retorted. It doesn't matter if the decisions your school makes are good or bad. But this kind of thing should be told privately, and not in front of the whole class. At this time, a parent of a student pointed at him, arrogantly said to be a hooligan with you. What is the truth to tell? My husband is the head of the order department. I said I wouldn't let those two boys go to school. What do you think? I don't want my child to be friends with Lu Ming. Sister Xiaoyu was also angry when she heard it. We just don't change shifts. What can you do with us? Besides, is this the quality of a barrier person? I don't know how to stand up and speak. There is no upbringing. You don't respect others. It is also difficult to gain respect from others. That made the parent angry. Lu Ming is Lu Ming. Lu Ming is not worthy of talking to me about respect. As soon as the words fell, Sister Xiaoyu slapped her and slapped it. Since you talk well, don't listen. Then you have to do it. Then one of the children spoke again. Since they came to class, there are often cases of losing pens and erasers in the class. Sister Xiaoyu was furious when she heard this. He can't stand the slander of others the most. At a young age, he learned to lie and frame people. I obviously bought them a lot of stationery. You can't steal it at all. Watching your own children being questioned. Parents were also furious, scolding him for definitely doing something indecent outside the barrier. I'm afraid the money for buying things is also not clean. These words stung Sister Xiaoyu deeply. Let him think back to his unbearable past. 6 Yuan also stood up at this moment. I was a little worried about Sister Xiaoyu's state, but it made the famous female head of the family add fuel to the fire. 6 Yuan angrily warned him not to say any more. But the head of the family did not give up. What is not trivial? Women also rushed to the parent-teacher conference. Seeing that Sister Xiaoyu was humiliated, 6 Yuan rushed up to give the woman a big arm knock. What are your opinions? There's no need to bully my sister when you come at me. Fortunately, Sister Xiaoyu stopped it in time. Lu Yuan did not continue to be ruthless, but he was already murderous. As he left, Lu Yuan looked into their eyes. It's like looking at a corpse. And on the way home, their bad luck continues. As they crossed the street, a car sped towards them. Fortunately, Sister Xiaoyu reacted in time, hurriedly grabbed him. They were able to avoid a car accident. When walking down the street, the billboard overhead suddenly came loose. Straight down. 6 Yuan seems to have been expected for a long time. Hurriedly took Sister Xiaoyu's hand. Only then did he escape. Sister Xiaoyu also reacted at this time. This is definitely the backlash of the 6 Yuan curse, and 6 Yuan did not deny it. It means that those who bully them will surely die today. Sister Xiaoyu, who returned home, felt uneasy. He begged for $6 to stop killing again. He wasn't worth it. 6 Yuan, but I feel uncomfortable. I've been holding my breath. He wiped away tears for Sister Xiaoyu. You are worth it. Someone who dares to bully you. I will go to hell with their loved ones. $6 at this moment. Even Sister Xiaoyu felt a little strange. She hurriedly hugged her. Remember what your brother said? Don't let the sorrow of the times be your sorrow. For the first time, a man takes his sister to spend the night in the wilderness. Also carefully cooked a pot of coarse rice porridge for the girl. I usually take care of the rough boy who is 6 Yuan. Now he is worried about whether Xiaojing will drink this porridge or not. Suddenly, Ren Xiaosu reacted. Why do you always want to take care of Koi? Besides, where does Koi need to take care of himself? He's obviously much better than himself. Are you really in love? At this time, Xiaojing said on the side. In fact, there is no need to cook porridge so troublesomely. The canned marching food they brought with them was enough to eat. But Ren Xiaosu said that if he could save on the road, he would save it. Who knows what other difficulties will be encountered on the road? After speaking, he handed a box of porridge to Xiaojing. Looked at Ren Xiaosu's appearance of blowing porridge seriously. Xiaojing seems to have discovered something. He hurriedly looked at his lunchbox. I suddenly found out that it was actually a lunchbox for two couples. Xiao Jin's face turned red with a sudden. In order not to be discovered by a small vegetarian, he picked up the porridge in a panic and drank it. But I forgot that this is a porridge fat that has just come out of the pot. He squirted out. Xiaosu saw that he was in such a hurry. Thought he liked to drink. I'm also thinking about cooking more next time. The relationship between the two is close. Is also thanks to the god-level assist of Sister Xiaoyu's lunchbox. After eating and drinking, the two chatted. Ren Xiaosu was curious. Why is everyone so interested in the 178 barrier? Just because they can fight. Koi just wanted to answer. Found that he couldn't look directly into Xiaosu's eyes at all. I had to bow my head and reply. There were 4 important military factories in the vicinity of the 178 barrier. And they have more than 30 kinds of mineral deposits. And that's not all. There is also the largest amount of minerals and grain reserves. After understanding, Ren Xiaosu was a little unexpected. I thought that the 178 barrier was particularly poor. I didn't expect them to be hugely rich. This is the two of them attracted by the movement of Zongcheng behind them. Zongcheng and the soldiers turned into a magic trick. Someone wants to drink water. He poured boiled water out of the cup. Someone wants to drink grape juice. So he poured out the juice from the same cup. This aroused Ren Xiaosu's curiosity. So he stepped forward and asked Zongcheng, "Will it be a poker trick?" Zongcheng said that you underestimate me. Playing cards are an entry-level activity for learning magic. Which kind of do you want to see me? I can change. So Ren Xiaosu asked him to perform and change 4 words. Zongcheng said that after this simple and skillful shuffle, let Ren Xiaosu draw 4 cards at will. Ren Xiaosu took a look. It's really 4 fours. But when you return it, Ren Xiaosu played tricks. He replaced the poker with 4 card burst poker. Prepare a real bomb for Zongcheng, just in case. At this time, Xiaojing drove to Ren Xiaosu's side. Say you're going to leave in a moment. When the time comes, we will throw off Zongcheng and the Nimi warriors. Be prepared to go it alone. When he left, Ren Xiaosu was a little puzzled. Shake them off. It's just how we go to suppress the bandits. The little police explained. The terrain of the River Valley area is complex and peculiar. Very convenient for bandits to hide. So they have to find out first the situation of bandits throughout the valley region. See if there's a chance to catch them all. After all, the clan is more familiar with the valley area. And many of the bandits are connected to them. If let them lead the way, then we can only see. They want us to see. Ren Xiaosu was worried about saving the two of them from breaking into the bandit house. There will be no surprises. Xiao Jin is full of confidence. Isn't there still you? Ren Xiaosu blushed after hearing this. I didn't expect Xiao Jin to trust herself so much. After that, the 2 people who dumped Zongcheng off drove the car to a cliff. Stopped. The rest of the road is only on foot. The boy just said that he didn't look good in a hat. The girl took off the hat she had been wearing for a long time. The boy also said that his hair was too long and neat. The girl took out the dagger again. Cut off your long hair without hesitation. Then he softened his hairstyle. Ren Xiaosu looked at Xiao Jin's cute appearance and was a little distracted. Is this what it feels like to be excited? At this time, Xiaojing said that we have to make a confession. When you will mix up the Lumen settlement. People asked about our relationship. Goofs are not possible. How old are you this year? Ren Xiaosu began to think about it in his heart. Himself 17 years old. But the impression of the small scene seems to be 18. Then I have to call her sister. So he blurted out that I was 20 years old. Unexpectedly, Yang Xiaojing said that I am 21 years old this year. You can call me my sister. Ren Xiaosu looked resentful. I thought to myself, Yang Xiaojing didn't even make drafts when he said nonsense. I was tricked by him. Xiao Jing waved his hand. Say don't care about these details. Today, they had to arrive at the gathering place before sunset. However, the road was farther than they thought. I didn't make it until night. Jin Meizi said that she was hungry at this time. Ren Xiaosu immediately proposed himself. Go and help him find something to eat. After that, let him teach himself marksmanship. Jean Maisie thinks it's amazing. So Ren Xiaosu stayed. Xiao Jin, who lives alone, goes in search of food. But where did he need to look? Just grab a few items straight from the storage. Ren Xiaosu turned out 2 potatoes. He roasted it with Xiao Jin and ate it. After that, the little policeman began to teach Xiaosu to shoot by hand. Although Ren Xiaosu uses a skill map, I learned part of his marksmanship, but I can't learn my own breathing skills. Pay attention to your breathing. Lung fluid changes its posture slightly as it absorbs air. It's not obvious, though. But for snipers, failure in every detail will be fatal. Ren Xiaosu pointed his gun at the eagle in the sky. Wait quietly for him to circle downward. Prepare for a one-shot kill. Gunshots rang out. Bullets flew out. Seeing that the bullet is about to hit the head. But in the next second, the bullet passed by the eagle. Even the eagle who escaped death found it incredible. Xiao Jin didn't forget to quip. Do you still think you can use firearms? Ren Xiaosu wondered. Obviously hit him in the head. Why is it okay? Could it be that the eagle has mutated? Xiao Jin felt that he was making excuses. You said you hit him in the head. Why is he okay? Ren Xiaosu thought about it seriously. Maybe he doesn't have a brain. After that, the two continued on their way. Ren Xiaosu was curious. Why should a girl practice firearms? Xiao Jin said. Because this is the power that can protect yourself. Although hard. But it's fun. Soon after, the two finally saw the gathering place for Lu Ming. But Ren Xiaosu felt that something was wrong. Along the way, they didn't even meet a single bandit. It's also weird. A man and a woman broke into the bandits' den alone. But I didn't meet a single bandit. This makes Xiaosu a little strange. He asked the grandmother who was selling vegetables on the side. The old woman saw an unfamiliar face. Thought they had just escaped from somewhere else. The husband and wife lamented that they had come at the wrong time. During this time, the bandit nest in the north was in turmoil. There are 3 gangs. They all want to integrate the bandits in the River Valley area. 2 of the groups also included transcendence. Whoever encounters disobedience is killed. It's a coincidence. The bandits came at this time. The grandmother immediately reminded everyone to hide quickly. Seeing this, Ren Xiaosu also followed. Worried about the chaos of the scene, he stretched out his hand to ask Xiao Jing to hold him in case he got separated. Xiao Jing thought that they were going to hold hands. His face turned red all at once. But he still took it. On the other hand, Xiaosu. A look of triumph. At this time, the bandits came to Lu Ming, forcing them to submit. Lu Ming said they would only farm. There will be no fights. But the bandits had a tough attitude. It means that if you don't fight, you have to fight. Subsequently, the eldest brother of the bandits ordered the younger brother to escort Lu Ming back. Xiao Jing thinks to go with them. You can learn more about the current situation in the valley area. So he decided to tie his hands and take his hands dirty. And Ren Xiaosu. But he wanted to destroy this wave of bandits directly. But under Xiao Jing's persuasion, they decided to observe before acting. They want to go anyway. This group of bandits could not be stopped. In order to let Lu Ming let down his guard, the big brother of the bandit began to draw a pie for everyone. Said that he would let them go today. Tomorrow they will also be kidnapped by others. I took everyone back for the good of everyone. The days passed. It won't be like this one by one. Then he pointed at Ren Xiaosu. Especially you. Yellow muscles on the face. It doesn't look like there's any strength at all. Ren Xiaosu was very angry. The police girl behind her was still snickering. However, the snickering policeman attracted the attention of the other bandits. The chick next to her is good-looking. It must look good when you wash your face. So he named the police girl to go with him. Also trying to get hands-on. This next Ren Xiaosu can't bear it anymore. Directly stopped her groping pig hand. It's okay to bully yourself. But it's not okay to bully Xiao Jing. The bandits didn't expect Lu Ming to fight back. I'm going to give her some color to see. But Ren Xiaosu directly punched her heart. He who dies cannot die anymore. At this time, The bandit brother realized that the situation was not right. I want to quietly pull out a gun. Ren Xiaosu didn't give him a chance. A direct kick in his face. The whole person was kicked to the ground. At this time, Xiaojing also took out a pistol. Kill the bandits who were about to shoot one by one. I thought there would be a fierce battle. Unexpectedly, this group of bandits knelt down directly when they saw this. Kept shouting that the eldest brother spared his life. This scene also made Ren Xiaosu untidy. What kind of bandits are these? The police infiltrated the name to find out the information. But because of his outstanding appearance, he was favored by the bandits who rushed in. The bandits immediately planned to tie him back. When the lady of the village. But Ren Xiaosu didn't allow his wife to be bullied. Rushing over is a punch that pierces the bandit's heart. The bandits thought they had met the transcendent. Frightened, he fell to his knees and begged for mercy. Kept shouting for the eldest brother to spare his life. This scene also made Ren Xiaosu untidy. What kind of bandits are these? Isn't it bloody at all? At this time, the bandit brother explained. Originally, they were also farming. It's just that someone told them. When the bandits are given guns, motorcycles, and food. So they went up to the mountains and worked as bandits for 2 months. Then, they directly recognized Xiaosu as their big brother on the mountain. I hope to lead them to become bigger and stronger. I have to say, this bandit brother has a good job of brainwashing people. Coaxed Ren Xiaosu into a daze. He's obviously here to suppress bandits. How did you become a bandit leader? But Ren Xiaosu did not refuse. After all, this identity is currently sick to him. He sent for the weapons to be brought over and hidden. Then order the rest. They all went back with him to farm. Ren Xiaosu got on a motorcycle. Don't forget to call your wife to come and do it. Shouted to Xiaojing directly that he was shy. Ren Xiaosu who went back. A mobilization meeting was held for Lu Ming and the bandits. He said that now we have weapons. But we can choose not to be bandits. Rather, it is to protect our crops with weapons. This blinded the bandits. People on the top of the mountain are robbing Lu Ming as a bandit. Instead, they were snatched back to farming by Lu Ming. Xiaojing didn't understand Ren Xiaosu's purpose in doing this. Ren Xiaosu said that it was too troublesome to go to those bandits one by one. It's better to keep this group of homeless people to fish. Sit back and wait for the other bandits to come to the door. After a while, the fish was hooked. The bandits' motorcycles had just stopped. Ren Xiaosu rushed towards the bandits to attract their attention. The police officer shot him in the back. Subdue the bandits one by one. The previous bandit brother saw this scene. I'm glad I didn't choose to go toe. They began to speculate on the identities of the two. The younger brother thinks that they are the masters of the consortium. But the eldest brother felt it. They have more ways than conglomerates. And they don't pay attention to it at all. I don't even wash my face. The barrier man can't stand this. Suddenly, the eldest brother had a guess. They are certainly masters of the 178 barriers. Only those who are there are not as squeamish as the other barrier people. And all of them are fierce and powerful. So the big brother of the bandits began to brainwash the younger brother again. As long as we behave well in front of them, maybe you can enter the 178 barrier in the future. That's 10,000 times better than being a bandit. After speaking, the bandit brother ran to Ren Xiaosu's side to offer his courtesy. Ren Xiaosu threw the gun at him, said to let him be the squad leader of this detachment. Then Ren Xiaosu received it. Thank you from the bandit brother Jinlan. Originally, he just wanted to test this product. I didn't expect this product to be so sincere. Ren Xiaosu couldn't help but feel a little proud. Is this the legendary leadership temperament? The boy had just captured a group of bandit brothers. In order for them to follow themselves with all their hearts, you can only pretend that you are a ruthless person with the 178 barrier. He unleashed a dark shadow to entice the bandits to follow, and then deliberately let them bump into this scene. At this time, one of the bandits said, I heard that there was blood in the 178 barrier. His power is to summon a shadow. These words instantly made the bandits even more convinced. He is the man of the 178th barrier. At this time, Ren Xiaosu was happy in his heart. I didn't expect them to take the bait so easily. However, this shocking secret was discovered. The bandits turned around and tried to slip away. But Ren Xiaosu found that he stopped them. The bandits thought they were about to be wiped out. Ren Xiaosu said that he just kept it secret if he saw it. Otherwise, there will be no mercy. Now the bandit brothers are even happier for him. After a while, Ren Xiaosu received a bunch of thank you coins. At this time, a bandit found Ren Xiaosu. He said he wanted to go home, so that I can call my brothers over. Even Ren Xiaosu didn't expect it. That's what it worked. So he promised to give him a day. However, it was only at night. The bandit took his brother with him. The big bags rushed back, looked down on Ren Xiaosu. Even Xiao Jing thought it was a little funny. How did he really become a bandit leader? In the evening, Ren Xiaosu gave the only tint to Xiao Jingzhu. I was blowing the cold wind on the floor outside. He said to Xiao Jing, although this identity can fool the bandits into staying here, but he always felt that there was something missing. These bandits are not very combative. I don't even understand the use of a gun. It's probably enough to escape if you really fight. Xiao Jing said that he could teach them firearms. But more importantly, we need to teach this plate to be united. Ren Xiaosu understands adversity and sees the truth. Suddenly, a biting evening breeze blew. He asked if it was warm in the tent. Xiao Jing said that you will know whether it is warm or not when you come in. It's just that Ren Xiaosu has a thief's heart after all, but he doesn't have the courage to be a thief. It doesn't seem to be able to experience the warmth of 38 degrees anymore. Early the next morning, Ren Xiaosu gathered all the bandits. Someone was sent to bring a box of firearms. The bandits thought they were letting them practice their guns. Also patted his chest to ensure that he was pointing and hitting. But I didn't expect it. Ren Xiaosu said, I want it. It's not just a bandit who just screams and fights. I can't look down on your combat power. You all go down to the river for me to dig out the mud. Take silt to make bricks. 10 bricks for 1 bullet. When to save up to 100 bullets. When am I going to give you back the gun? That's when you're qualified to prove yourself. These words. It also put unprecedented pressure on the homeless bandits. But in order to get the recognition of $178, they worked hard to make bricks. Xiao Jing was a little puzzled. You're pushing them so hard. Won't they give up? Ren Xiaosu said that the more difficult, the more they believe that all this is true. Xiao Jing said, then if they find out later that all this is fake, what to do? Ren Xiaosu reassured him. I want them to build a home here. After all, a home built with your own hands, stronger than anything else. When the time comes, I will give them an explanation. In the evening, the bandits, who had been busy all day, began to complain. At this time, they were found by local homeless people to thank them for helping to dig the canals. Each family has delivered their own dry food. See this scene. The bandits fell silent. I remembered the time when I did all kinds of evil and bullied the homeless people before. Now my heart is full of guilt. The bandit brother said, the villagers have sent us a nest. Care. Let's at least build a house for someone. The younger brothers are also numerous. They were full of enthusiasm and agreed. Ren Xiaosu and the others were also relieved to see this scene. See, I'll just say they won't give up easily. In order for this group of bandits to become well-trained, the boy came up with a solution. 10 bricks instead of 1 bullet. Collect 100 bullets to get a gun. You can also gain a perfection-level firearm skill. Of the transcendent. In-person instruction. First night. The bandit brother happily went to get the bullets. He told Ren Xiaosu, I made 30 bricks today. If it weren't for the silt, it would be too hard to dig. And so much more. He got his wish and got 3 bullets. I was immediately moved to tears. Because in their opinion, this is not a simple bullet. It's the hope of entering the barrier. But there were far fewer other bandits. Some only received 2. Some didn't even receive a single one. Just as they were about to go back to bed early. When I get up tomorrow and continue to work hard. The policeman left them behind. He's going to give the bandits their first lesson. that is to memorize the 5 disciplines. The bandit brother said that he didn't preach a firearms class. Why do you have to memorize discipline? Suddenly, they reacted. Only those who have saved enough ammunition are eligible to take firearms lessons. No matter how fast it is, it would take more than 20 days for them to get their guns. Thinking of this, the faces of the people showed despair. The little police officer in order to cheer everyone up. So I told them, myself, prepare to pick a good seedling suitable for being a sniper. These words instantly ignited the enthusiasm of the bandits. After that, Xiaojing also took out his usual sniper rifle. Show it to everyone. A sniper rifle conjured out of thin air. The bandits were instantly stunned. Sure enough, it's a transcendent one. Who can pass up the opportunity to learn from the transcendent? So they began to listen carefully to Xiaojing's lecture on discipline. After speaking, Xiaojing tells them that they will check the back love tomorrow. Besides, if there is a person who is not destroyed, then everyone can't learn to shoot. Said the next day when the bandit brother was working. Follow your own pace. Surely it will be less than 1 month to get the gun. But it occurred to him. The subordinates he brought with him didn't have many in their hands. So he decided to have a small meeting. Try to get everyone to save up almost enough bullets. He said he was the captain. You can donate a bullet to those who are falling behind. I saw that the eldest brother set an example. Those little brothers who have enough bullets. They also donated their own bullets. However, with more and more bandits joining it. Inevitably, it attracted the attention of the big forces. So under their repeated inquiries, I learned about a gathering place for leaving a name. There are 2 transcendents who specialize in catching bandits. In order to get inside information, the masked bandit decided to send a team of men to throw themselves into the net, then join them on the inside and without. Just like that, a pair of bandits, aggressive, came to the famous gathering place where Ren Xiaosu was. The boy caught hundreds of bandits to farm and move bricks. The news was learned by the bandit leader. So he ordered Su Jingyuan to lead a team of bandits. Go inside. The inside should be combined with the outside. Soon a group of bandits shouted. Came to the gathering place where Ren Xiaosu was. Ren Xiaosu rushed over and punched. The bandits didn't have time to react. He was beaten away with the car and the people. Then the leading bandits knelt down and begged for mercy. That's it. Ren Xiaosu subdued another group of bandit brothers. However, Xiaojing sensed that something was wrong. Their position of holding a gun was trained, and there is cooperation between these 12 people. It is estimated that he was sent by a bandit organization to be an undercover agent. Ren Xiaosu was not worried at all, who said that an undercover agent can't be influenced with love. This group of bandits was not idle when they first arrived. Gather intel everywhere. They don't understand why the bandits have to work hard. Bitter burning bricks here. Brother Su thought they might have to build some fortifications. But the younger brother on the side found out the news. I listened to them. It's to build a house for Lu Ming. And Lu Ming also sent food to these bandits. Su Jinyuan listened. Immediately slapped and exhaled. How could the bandits build a house for Lu Ming? Isn't that a weasel giving a New Year's greeting? Why don't I believe it? But at this moment, it just so happened that Lu Ming came to bring them food. Su Jingyuan looked like a ghost. When working, he found that the 2 transcendents did not have the slightest fight. He also worked with them. So he asked the Jinlan brothers tentatively, the big guys play the game with you. Pretending. Do you really believe it? But Jinlan said that we are not stupid. Can't you see it? It's that you're lazy all day. The work is not easy to do. In the evening, the fellow came again to deliver corn. You are not allowed to eat it. After hearing this, Su Jinyuan said angrily, you are a bandit. How can you still do farm work and do a sense of superiority? Jinlan said that there was no shame in eating with her own hands. It's a shame to be lazy and lazy. However, Brother Su was not convinced. I just sat on the sidelines and watched for a day. I found that these 2 transcendents were really not pretending. So he began to mutter in his heart, how to choose. Of course, it would be nice if you could really follow the 178 barrier. But there are other bandit brothers in the north, waiting for my news. At this time, Xiaosu was worried. They had a pile of bricks empty, but there is no cement concrete. You can't build a house like that. So he issued a bounty for the cement concrete formula. As long as someone knows how to make it, you can get 20 bullets. What I didn't expect was, Su Jinyuan blurted out the concrete formula. But in his heart, he made a hard excuse for himself. I'm not for 20 bullets. Mainly think they're too stupid to be connected. I won't be able to build a house. It turned out that he had built houses for the big families in the market town. After Ren Xiaosu understood the situation, he became the captain of the construction team in the gathering place. The man was originally an undercover agent of bandits who came to find out information, but he didn't expect to become the captain of the construction team on the first day. It's just because he knows how to build houses and make concrete. So he was recognized by many. He also got 20 bullets rewarded by Ren Xiaosu. As bandits, he felt ashamed to be respected for doing good deeds. But he remembered Jean Lan's words today. There is no shame in eating with your own hands. So he tried to convince himself that he was no longer lazy. Work hard. Was also praised by a girl for being knowledgeable. Su Jinyuan was a little embarrassed to be praised. Ren Xiaosu said that he could use knowledge to help everyone. This is learning. Knowledge is used to change the world. You're changing the world. Ren Xiaosu's tricks can fool Su Jinyuan into the sky. After that, he was able to change the bullet for the job. I started to get used to life here. I even forgot what I was here for. In the evening, his subordinates found him Brother Su. Let's get ready to leave tonight. But he didn't expect Su Jinyuan to resist what to say. How can I leave my family? The younger brother thought he had been brainwashed. Brother Su, didn't you say you didn't believe them before? Su Jinyuan asked rhetorically. Have you heard of a bandit who had a good death? Besides, you've been in contact with these two too. You think they're compared to our big chiefs to the north. What do you think? The little brother said silently, our atmosphere is quite depressing. Usually I don't even dare to take a breath of air. But here, everyone can joke like a family. We can work together. Su Jinyuan said, do you think I was really fooled? Actually, I'm just from these two people. I saw a glimmer of hope. You thought these bandits chose to stay. Is it really because of being brainwashed here? It's not that they've all seen it. A force called hope. That's all that is said and done. The younger brother was still a little hesitant. He thought it was good though. But these people won't even hold guns. When the time comes, the great chief will come. What do they take to resist? He didn't want to die. Everyone has their own thoughts and concerns. Su Jinyuan expressed respect for his decision. After that, Su Jinyuan took the initiative to find Ren Xiaosu. Prepare for the news that the bandits from the north are about to be attacked. Tell him to be prepared. But he didn't expect it. Ren Xiaosu already knew their identities. Su Jinyuan thought they would be disposed of. But Ren Xiaosu said that they were welcome to join. According to the plan, they were going to send 600 bandits to fight. This is 3 times more than Ren Xiaosu's side. And their big leader turned out to be Wang Tsongyang. Sure enough, it's not that enemies don't get together. Su Jinyuan reminded Weather to avoid the limelight for the time being. Xiaosu said that they were only one transcendent. And we have 2. There is no disc at all. Moreover, now he still has a perfect level learning map in his hand. I can't help but reproduce Wang Chongyang's skills. The boy sent for a basket of grenades. Wait quietly in the pit for the bandits' night attack. Seeing that a large number of bandits are about to be killed, the boy unplugged the insurance. Activate the skill Shadow Gate. Teleport the grenade to the bandits' path, accompanied by the sound of explosions. The bandits who rushed to the front were eliminated in an instant. The little brother on the side was directly stunned. What is this ability? Long-range bombing. As grenades fell, most of the bandits were eliminated before they could get close. There are scattered bandits left. Was killed one by Yang Xiaojin, who was hiding in the shadows. However, Ren Xiaosu found that something was wrong at this time. If it is as planned, there will be more than 600 people. It is impossible to still do so. Didn't show up. Suddenly he seemed to think of something. Loud reminder to be careful. The enemy may have split his forces in 2 directions. Sure enough, under the detection of the younger brother, a pair of bandits are sneaking around, approaching slowly from the northeast. So Ren Xiaosu immediately summoned a black shadow, blocked the way of the bandits. Wang Chongyang is really more difficult than he imagined. Ren Xiaosu immediately sent 2 teams of people, prepare to split heads and go to the sides to sweep the tail. But at this moment, suddenly a train appeared in the void, hurrying towards them. The sudden arrival of the train caught them off guard. Many people were hit directly by the train. The newly built defensive base was also destroyed. They haven't had time to react yet. A large number of enemies had already rushed to the face. They looked around, didn't find Ren Xiaosu. At this time, the younger brother trembled and said to the eldest brother, "Didn't you leave us and run away?" But Su Jinyuan is very convinced. Ren Xiaosu will not leave them. There must be something more important to do. He raised his gun and shouted, "We have guns in our hands." They put the house we worked so hard to build, all knocked down. Me to death. They fought fiercely. The people on Ren Xiaosu's side are losing and retreating. After all, many of them don't even understand the use of guns. As casualties continue to mount, many people have the intention of surrendering to save their lives. A critical juncture. Yang Xiaojing finally arrived with a sniper rifle. I saw him calmly aiming. Pull the trigger. With sniper bullets shooting out at a rapid pace. Many bandits fell to the ground at the sound of sounds. With Yang Xiaojing's rescue, the morale of his subordinates was instantly overwhelming. However, Ren Xiaosu's figure was never seen. At this time, a large number of bandits rushed up again. They found that Ren Xiaosu was actually behind the enemy. Just when they were shocked, Su Jingyuan suddenly gossiped. You say that the eldest brother and sister-in-law are so busy. Usually they are at home. Who listens? Who's it? Everyone is speechless. Meanwhile, Ren Xiaosu shouted behind the enemy. You are surrounded by me alone. Don't tie your hands yet. The boy died. He walked around behind the bandits. Shout that you are surrounded by me alone. I saw countless bullets shooting at the boy, but he avoided them one by one. He then flanked the shadow back and forth, knock hordes of bandits to the ground. However, after cleaning up this group of bandits, but their leader Wang Chongyang was never seen. Ren Xiaosu guessed his escape route, chased all the way. Wang Chongyang saw that he was about to be caught up. Activate the skill immediately. Summon your own steam train. Prepare to take the escape. However, Ren Xiaosu had already set his sights on his extraordinary ability. Hurriedly used the perfect level learning graph. However, the system prompts that the use distance is exceeded. Of course, Ren Xiaosu would not let the duck fly away. He directly turned on the skill to urge. Double strength and agility for 30 seconds. Towards the train in time, they caught up. Such an exaggerated speed. Wang Chongyang was dumbfounded. When the distance is reached, prompted to extract supernatural abilities. Whether the steam train learns. Only then did Ren Xiaosu stop. Select study. After you finish studying, he pointed in the air. The steam train came out of nothingness. However, his train was much longer than Wang Tsongyang's. This wave can be said to be a big way to make money. After that, Ren Xiaosu returned to the gathering place. Corpses littered the ground. They lost more than 100 brothers in this battle. There are also many casualties among displaced people. Ren Xiaosu took out the black medicine. Let them smear the wounded. They were also specifically reminded not to take it internally. Jin Lan and Su Jinyuan stood in the ruins. It's not a taste in my heart. The house that had just been built was destroyed. Then, a child yelled at them, "It's all your fault. You're here to bring in those bandits." Mom heard. Immediately after giving the child a slap. Let him not talk nonsense. Then apologized to the two. I know you're all good people in your bones. I don't blame you. If it's not you, we can't live in a brick house in our lives. Yang Xiaojin looked at the scene in front of her with some relief. The group was not crushed by the battle. The eyes are still full of hope. A lot of people are like they've been reborn. Ren Xiaosu also made up his mind at this moment. He was ready to wait for the situation to stabilize here. Just bring 6 yuan, and they come here to settle down. Compared to the barriers, he prefers this kind of free life. Ren Xiaosu asked Xiao Jing, "Would you like to settle here with yourself?" Xiao Jing blushed. Default is selected. Ren Xiaosu recalled that today's battle was so smooth. I wondered if it was because of the 6 yuan and the wish. Meanwhile, Lu Yuan is fighting the landlord. The card in his hand is 3,456. Number 7. Early the next morning, Su Jin Yuan found Ren Xiaosu. Report. He found a satellite phone in the rubble. Ren Xiaosu understood. This satellite phone is certainly not something that bandits can have. This indicates that there are traitors in their settlements. The bandit brother got under the bed of the brother who died in battle. Dig out a satellite phone. Ren Xiaosu asked him to keep quiet. He understood that there might be traitors in the gathering place. But he had read a book. It says that the witnesses to the homicide were found out. There is a 40% chance that the real culprit will be. So, Su Jingyuan, who discovered the call, was very suspicious. But it could also be someone else. Anyway, I'm afraid this place can't stay. If it's Qing's who leaks out, it's fine. But if it's a wife installed by the clan, once the clan arrived, they certainly can't resist it. But now the primary goal is to rescue the inner ghost. So Ren Xiaosu deliberately let Jin Lan hear his conversation with Xiao Jing. I've been contacted from my side. He will meet next week. Lead the team to the gathering place to find the northern bandits to liquidate. Ren Xiaosu understands Jin Lan's big mouth. He knew it as the whole colony knew. Sure enough, Jin Lan went back. He told his brother what he had just heard, and the ghost rat was also frightened by the news released. So early in the morning, while everyone else is still sleeping, choose to sneak away. However, Ren Xiaosu seemed to have expected it a long time ago. I've been waiting for him outside for a long time. The rat knew it couldn't escape. Immediately knelt down and confessed. That phone. It is used to talk to the leader of the cottage in Dingyuan Mountain in the north, delivering messages. Behind the bandits in the distant mountains are the people of the clan. Listen to it all. Ren Xiaosu didn't intend to give him a chance to live. If you don't go, you won't betray. I probably won't do anything to you in the future. Su Jingyuan was also a traitor before, but he made the right choice. Let's be bandits together in the next life. Wouldn't this one work? After speaking, the long knife that appeared in Ren Xiaosu's hand and pierced him in the stomach. Meanwhile, Wang Tsongyang, who escaped, was caught by Zong Cheng. Zong Cheng's purpose this time is to win over Wang Tsongyang to work for himself. But Wang Tsongyang said, after leaving the 113 barrier by yourself, don't work for anyone anymore. After hearing this, Zong Cheng had a murderous intent. Since it can't be kept, then die here. Wang Chongyang was a little disdainful. Even if you want to keep me. He waved his hand. Steam trains appear out of thin air. He was ready to flee in a car again. I saw the Nimi warrior climb up. He lifted his foot and kicked him down. Wang Tsongyang also took the opportunity to get into the train. At this time, Zong Cheng realized that he had underestimated Wang Tsongyang. You can see it with the power of this kick. He is at least the best of the transcendental. Seeing that the soldier could not catch up with the train, the rest pulled out their pistols and bazookas. The train blasted away. Cannonballs can hit the train, but it didn't do the slightest harm. Zong Cheng could only watch him escape. Jin Lan panted and found Ren Xiaosu. Said someone had brought them supplies. So Ren Xiaosu came to the hill and waited for their arrival. As soon as the bald head came, he asked who was in charge here. He also said that he was just here to deliver firearms and was puzzled. Ren Xiaosu asked him if he was from the Qing family. The bald head still pretended to say no. But the two of them felt very familiar when they met. In fact, the two have met in Jingshan before. The bald head regarded Ren Xiaosu as the immortal master at that time, always chasing, under many temptations. The bald head is finally confirmed. He is what Luo Fatsi said about Ren Xiaosu. So the bald head no longer hid it. He said that he had received instructions from the chief of the Qing clinic. Sneak to the river valley area to take over affairs. Ren Xiaosu couldn't help but be a little surprised. This person is really not convinced. A few years earlier, he was still under the rostrum. I had already thought of a layout in the river valley area. After that, the bald head also explained to Luo Fatsi. Told Ren Xiaolu. That is, the Qing clan is ready to make a move on the Yang clan. If he doesn't have time to go back, Luo Fatsi will help him bring his brother's door out. Ren Xiaosu said after hearing this. You're not afraid I'll tell you about these things. Sabotage your plans. The bald head said that Boss Luo said that you can trust us. Just do what you were told. So Ren Xiaosu asked them to appear here. Is it going to fight the clan? The bald head said that it was not so simple to fight the clan. They just need to stop the clan from going south. Just help the Yang family. Explain it all. The bald head was about to leave. Fortunately, Jin Lan reminded in time that the supplies had not yet been given. The bald head asked them out of politeness what supplies they needed. Ren Xiaosu said that I want them all. The bald head was a little speechless and said, what are you doing? Not to mention leaving behind the car that delivered our supplies. Ren Xiaosu really thought about it. It's not impossible. There aren't many of you. Then leave 4 cars behind. These words directly made the bald head vomit blood. I'm so embarrassed to speak, but thinking of Boss Luo's instructions. The bald head also agreed. This made the little brother next to Ren Xiaosu admire the 5 bodies to the ground. I wonder where my eldest brother is sacred. Even the people of the Qing clan were so polite to him. Give whatever you want. After all this is over, Ren Xiaosu found Miss Yang. Jiang Qing told him when he was about to attack the 88 barrier. Wanted to know what he thought. However, Xiaojing just said that he was waiting for him to come back. Ren Xiaosu promised that I would go and return quickly. A jeep with a speed of 300 yards per hour crashed towards the man. The driver panicked. Honk your horn frantically. The man remained motionless. The driver slammed on the brakes. But it's too fast. Tire slippage. The speed of the car simply can't be slowed down. The old man in the car reminded him not to take a directional car. Let him just press over. Suddenly, a little girl appeared. A palm pressed on the front of the car. The car flew over the man's head. It didn't stop until it hit a tree. However, the driver not only did not hang, still scolding you for not having eyes. Good thing I was wearing a seatbelt. Xiao Silly stepped forward and straightened the car. Obediently carried the old man in the car in front of the man. Li Shintan was curious. The Qing clan had just surrounded the barrier. How did the old man escape from the encirclement? But he quickly guessed the answer. Old man Li must have made a deal with Qingji. That's why he was able to abandon the entire Li family and escape alone. Then, little Sli found a large number of gold bars in the car. Li Shintan instantly understood. Old Manly took all the gold from Li's bank. It seems that he wants to go to the Central Plains to be a rich man. He forced Old Manly to ask what he had done with Qing Clinic. The transaction was made, but Old Manly was dying and had a hard mouth. Li Shintan is not much compared to him. Just slowly lifted a stone. Then flick it hard. The stone easily pierced Old Man Li's head. The controller of the Li Consortium also made up his mind. For Li Shangtan, this is how his revenge is avenged. He knew that Ren Xiaosu liked gold. So let Xiao Si Li pack the gold on the car, ready to leave for the Central Plains and wait for Ren Xiaosu. Meanwhile, Ren Xiaosu also followed the team and sneaked into the 88 change. It would have been all right. Met Zhou Xue halfway. In order not to startle the snake, he didn't say a word and started directly. It was under Zhou Xue's surprised gaze. He was hit by a kick. Straight to the kick and stunned. Then Ren Xiaosu picked it up and ran. Took him all the way home. At this time, Luo Fatsi also appeared for the first time. You're back. If you don't come back, it's too late. Ren Xiaosu was puzzled, Didn't he say 10 days later? It's only been 3 days. Who is going to destroy 88 changes? Aren't they your people? Luo Fatsi explained that it was from the Li family. Now the situation is somewhat out of control. It's possible to do it at any time. Ren Xiaosu asked how many people came from the Li family. Luo Fatsi whispered a regiment of 1,500 people. This is all of Li's family. Ren Xiaosu didn't understand. Only 1,500 people can break through one of Yang's barriers. Luo Fatsi added that it was 1,500 of the fighters. Ren Xiaosu was instantly stunned when he heard this. You want to talk about that, warrior? Then I'm not leaving. I'm afraid the 88 barriers are about to collapse. Yang. He is about to face the combined efforts of 1,500 enemy fighters. Fortunately, Ren Xiaosu dropped 6 yuan and others, picked up from the 88 walls in advance. But a river blocked their way. Just when everyone was worried about how to cross the river, in the blink of an eye, Ren Xiaosu summoned a steam train. In the amazement of the crowd, he smiled and walked away. Get on the train and take you for a ride. And so they crossed the river without a hitch. It didn't take long to reach the destination. As soon as 6 Yuan saw Yang Xiaojin, he rushed up to call his sister-in-law. Was so ashamed that Ren Xiaosu jumped up with a flying kick. Xiao Yu touched Xiao Jin's face and said, "What a girl. It's really flowers stuck in cow dung." Ren Xiaosu was so angry when he heard it that he scolded. Afterwards, Xiao Yu gave Xiao Jin the gold bracelet she treasured. Xiao Jin also did not refuse. I accepted it with a smile. This time I can't give Ren Xiaosu a whole thing. What does that mean? Did she accept it? Xiao Yu looked at these two people and became more and more compatible. Began to think that it was time to prepare the bride price for Xiaosu. I also hope that they will not have too many children in the future. Otherwise, you won't be able to bring it yourself. After arriving at the settlement in the evening, Ren Xiaosu called everyone for a meeting. Due to the previous inner ghost, result in their exact location may have been discovered by the clan. Now there is unrest in the south. It may be dangerous for them to remain here. The younger brothers were very resolute after hearing this. Big brother, we will go wherever you go. At this moment, Ren Xiaosu also decided not to hide his identity anymore. He confessed to everyone, I am not a person from the 178 barrier. If anyone wants to go, you can write a letter of recommendation to them yourself. However, there is no guarantee that they will be able to join the 178 barrier. Hear this. Quite a few people began to hesitate at a loss. After all, their original intention was to go to the 178 barrier. I chose to stay here. After that, Ren Xiaosu disbanded the team. Give them time to make choices. After all, twisted melons are not sweet. After a while, Jin Lan walked over with his men. Ren Xiaosu thought he wanted to leave. Jin Lan hurriedly said, I had already guessed that he was not from that side. It is the sharing of joys and sorrows during this time. Let him make up his mind to follow him through the storm. Early the next morning, Ren Xiaosu led the bandits left behind in the courtyard. Depart for the northwest. It's just that there's a bunch of wild boars over there. There is also a powerful boar king. Want to settle in the northwest. Gotta knock that side down first. After hearing this, the younger brothers raised their arms and shouted to kill the wild boar. Settled in the northwest. However, on the way out, Ren Xiaosu sensed the 4-4s left for loyalty before. It actually appeared nearby. He hurriedly waved everyone to stop and find a place to hide. Then let Xiaojin quickly go to find a suitable sniper point, because they are about to face an attack from the clan. Ren Xiaosu led his younger brother to the northwest. But on the way, he encountered an ambush by the clan. A mortar shell streaked through the sky, fell beside Su Jinyuan. Everyone hurriedly reminded, but it was too late. A huge explosion rang out. A woman rushed forward, only to find that he had fallen to the ground with serious injuries. Su Jinyuan stretched out his hand before he died. Seems to want to hold him again, but he couldn't. Su Jinyuan was a little regretful. The two have just made a relationship, but he couldn't give him happiness. The little brothers watched this scene. I have already cried into tears. Ren Xiaosu reminded them not to be stunned. Hurry up and find a place to take cover. Just as they turned to hide, more mortar shells fell. The scene was chaotic. Ren Xiaosu saw this. It was also a hurried summoning of the steam train. Let everyone hide in the car. I thought I would be fine when I got in the car. But when a shell hits a train and explodes, Ren Xiaosu was also counterattacked. A mouthful of blood spurted out. He looked out the window. A group of the warriors were found buried outside. Ren Xiaosu understood. With so many people, you can't get by just trying to break through. But if you can't get by, fierce mortars. Sooner or later, it will blow everyone into a pulp. At this moment, Ren Xiaosu hated Zhong Cheng to the extreme. He immediately detonated the pop poker he had left behind. An explosion sounded, but Zhong Cheng did not die. It turned out that he had already realized that poker had a problem. The question is at this moment, Ren Xiaosu is no longer kept. He summoned a dark shadow. I also put on that meter armor and rushed out. I saw two figures, swift towards the hordes of soldiers. Faced with the bullets that were fired, they don't dodge either. Straight up to him. The soldiers didn't have time to think yet. Why bullets don't work for them. Ended his life on Ren Xiaosu. At this moment, Ren Xiaosu was like a killing god possessed. He couldn't figure it out. They just want to live a good life. But why do people always have to stop them again and again? We're not wrong. This is the sadness of the times. And me. I will never let the sorrow of the times become my sorrow. Ren Xiaosu instantly exerted his strength towards the soldiers. Where the figure passed, the enemy was annihilated. At this time, a soldier shouldered the RPG and aimed at Ren Xiaosu. An explosion sounded. Although Ren Xiaosu did not die, but he suffered a lot of internal injuries. This sense of powerlessness made Xiaosu very angry. Zhong Cheng has a kind of you come out to fight alone. What kind of skill is it to find a group of hunting dogs to besiege? Suddenly, a steam train came from behind him. Yang Xiaojin leaned out of the window, pulled Xiaosu in. Although Ren Xiao amateur is fine, but nanobots lose more than half. The external armor is no longer able to cover the whole body. Yang Xiaojin blamed himself a little. Didn't help him, and they have already lost more than 60 brothers. That girl Su Jingyuan likes. Also committed suicide with Su Jingyuan's gun. Suddenly, there was a massive explosion near the train. Zhongqing actually laid a large number of mines on the road. What a killing. Ren Xiaosu and they were besieged and killed by Zhongqing. I finally escaped. The steam train came in. Mine shells that the enemy has long laid down. The backlash of a violent explosion. Let Ren Xiaosu squeeze in and can't hold on. The younger brothers dissuaded him from holding on. The big deal is to die together. I can meet a big brother like you in this life. We're worth it too. The little policeman also said with tears in his eyes. You've done enough. But Ren Xiaosu didn't give up. Still gritting his teeth and desperately persevering. Finally the train left the minefield. Ren Xiaosu just wanted to breathe a sigh of relief. But then a group of cyclists chased after them. Ren Xiaosu really didn't expect it. The clan even called its bandits to him. It doesn't seem like they're going to leave them alive at all. At this time, Jin Lan stood up for the eldest brother. You take a break. You took care of us before. Now it's our turn to protect you. With that, they rushed off the train. Without looking back, he rushed in the opposite direction of the train. The brother saw this. Is also tearful, obviously a kobold bear. A hero who pretends to be a fart. At this time, the bandits arrived on bicycle. Jin Lan ordered his men to open fire. Several bandits were killed on the spot, but the younger brother quickly ran out of bullets. Jin Lan listened. Immediately threw his gun at him. Hold the gun. Don't waste bullets. After explaining, Jin Lan rushed up alone. He blocked the motorcycle's path with his flesh. However, when he had just held down a bandit, he was shot by someone coming from behind. Jin Lan collapsed in a pool of blood. But I didn't regret it. can be a hero in this apocalyptic troubled world. It's worth it too. At this time, Zongcheng also arrived with a large group of people, and the two people next to him are also transcendental. He is confident in this long-planned plan. As long as you can catch Miss Yang, then use his secret puppet technique to control him. So, sooner or later, the power of the thugs behind him will be used by him. And the appearance of Ren Xiaosu. It's just a little unexpected for his plans. He asked his subordinates to capture Ren Xiaosu alive as much as possible. If you can't, it doesn't hurt to kill that. Meanwhile, Ren Xiaosu and the others were also caught up by bandits. There is no escape. The younger brothers raised their guns one after another. The enemy fought for their lives. Miss Yang, who was ambushed in the distance, also found an opportunity. A single shot blew up a motorcycle. This is far better than killing one person with one shot. At this time, the younger brother Zhang Yiheng also ran out of bullets in the gun. When he turned back, but they found that all their brothers had fallen. He was the only one standing. So he sealed the class teachers. Swing your fist and try to stop the motorcycle. But there was no such thing as him in the eyes of those people. After all, their target is Miss Yang. So I just chose to ignore it. But this is for Zhang Yiheng. It's worse than killing him. I can only keep yelling at me to stop. Come and kill me. Soon, the group of bandits caught up with Ren Xiaosu on foot. At this time, teacher Jiang Wu also stood up. After all, he is also a transcendent. I saw many petals on his arm. Every petal is like a bullet. Shot at the bandits. But there are too many bandits. Jiang Wu was gradually suppressed as well. After all, he was a newly awakened transcendent. The number of petals is still too small. And the location of Yang Xiaojin's ambush was also discovered. It is possible to raise the gun and retreat, just when everything seems to be in a desperate situation. Lu Yuan stood up in the rain of bullets. Have you ever seen a curse of the scourge level? Just when Ren Xiaosu and others were in a desperate situation, Yin Lu Yuan stood up. Xiao Yu knew what he wanted to do, so they kept crying and screaming for him to come back. But Lu Yuan made up his mind. He wants to make his sorrow the sorrow of the times. This time, he wants to protect everyone with his extraordinary abilities. He roared and said, I'm going to curse. I curse that the day will fall too. The ground also cracked. This old era, buried with heaven and earth. The words of $6 are like a holy decree. In an instant, the world changed. The ground collapsed. The rift continues to stretch forward. The bandits in front of them all fell into the pit. Even the distant city of Zongcheng was affected, although they don't know what's going on. But in the face of this terrible vision of heaven and earth, they had no choice but to flee for their lives. After a thrilling escape, Zongcheng was unwilling. But there is only the option to retreat. Meanwhile, Zhang Yiheng didn't know if it was luck or what. He survived unscathed. But what surprised him even more? The fallen brother miraculously survived. Yang Xiaojin is also in the 8x mirror. I saw the whole process of the 6 yuan curse ability. But that's the end of it. 6 yuan collapsed and knelt down. Due to the backlash of the curse, he was weak and weak. Even the nanobots have all lost power. He knew that this was only part of the backlash. Since the curse is a natural disaster, then the backlash will also be a natural disaster. That's when it happened. Suddenly, water seeped from the parched ground. Then a large amount of water gushed out of the ground. 6 yuan hurriedly turned around to remind everyone that it was a flood. Run to the heights. And 6 yuan himself has no power to escape. It was about to be flooded. Ren Xiaosu noticed the dangerous situation of 6 yuan. He also didn't care about his own serious injuries. Without hesitation, overdraft the body. Start the destruction of the city. Rush towards $6. But they didn't notice it in the slightest. On the hills in the distance, there was also a transcendent under Zongcheng standing. I saw a spear in his hand. Charged in the direction of the two of them, he threw them out. Seeing that the spear is coming, Ben Xiaosu grabbed 6 people. Throw him to safety. The sound of the body being frozen through sounded. 6 Yuan looked at the scene in front of him with a tragic face. He kept shouting songs. I saw that Ren Xiaosu's body was frozen through by a spear. His eyes were full of reassurance. For him, it's okay as long as 6 Yuan. More than anything else. He told 6 Yuan to live well. Then he was drowned by the flood that struck. Lu Yuan watched this happen. But there is nothing that can be done. In the end, he fainted because of the backlash. I don't know when. A pack of hungry wolves appeared in the distance. Is slowly approaching Lu Yuan and Xiaoyu. A pack of hungry wolves suddenly appeared in the wilderness. They walked towards the children and women in unison. I saw a wolf bite 6 Yuan. The other bit Xiaoyu. But the wolves don't seem to intend to eat them. Instead, he carried them out of this dangerous place. Meanwhile, the transcendent who killed Ren Xiaosu is being hunted down by wolves. Suddenly, he stopped. Because he had arrived safely at the clan's territory. This means that no matter who comes, they can no longer threaten him. A bullet shot out at a rapid pace. Pierced the man's heart directly. The man didn't even think about it when he died. There were even snipers behind him. When the man is completely out of breath. Yang Xiaojin also walked out with a cold face. Xiaosu, I helped you get revenge. He put away his sniper rifle. Turn away. Follow the direction of the river. Kept looking for Ren Xiaosu's figure. Even if it's dead. He also wants to see the corpse. However, he searched all over but couldn't find Ren Xiaosu. At this time, a paper crane flew in the sky. Yang Xiaojing knew that his aunt had written to him. The letter said that he came to the Central Plains and waited for the incident here. Aunt helps you kill the clan. It turned out that Aunt Xiaojing had been secretly watching him. Meanwhile, an off-road vehicle gallops through the wilderness. And in the back seat of the car, there was a seriously injured person, Xiaosu. At this time, the car stopped. A man in a wheelchair came to Ren Xiaosu, who had woken up. Hello, my name is Wang Shangji. We found you by the river. You were seriously injured and unconscious. We took you on our way without permission. I hope you don't mind. At this time, Ren Xiaosu also asked about his injury. But Wang Shengji's words stunned him. The original handle, penetrating injuries caused by long hairs, actually directly helped Ren Xiaosu cut his appendix. Not only did it not hurt other vital organs, you won't have to worry about appendicitis again. This is also a blessing in disguise. Then the woman in the passenger seat said that my name is Wang Sheng. How did you get hurt? Ren Xiaosu casually made an excuse. He said that he was swept up by the flood when he was planting. It turned out to be pierced by a branch. After hearing this, Wang Shengji said that his life was really big. Afterwards, Ren Xiaosu also inquired about the purpose of these people. It turned out that this group of people was from the Central Plains. Prepare to go to the 178 barrier. Ren Xiaosu was a little puzzled, and people from the Central Plains rarely came to the Northwest. What are you doing in this poor place? This question, Wang Shengying also did not hide it at all. We're going to reopen this Northwest trade route. Ren Xiaosu felt that it was unrealistic. Once the trade route is opened, the clan was in the middle of this trade route. There's no way they'll agree. That's when it happened. The clan's car actually came here, said the soldier who got out of the car. This road passes through the territory of my clan. Please come back to the clan with me first. We'll let you go when we're clear. Wang Shengying also wanted to explain. The soldier raised his gun directly. Prepare to forcibly bring them back. That's when it happened. The car of the 178 barrier also arrived. The man looked like he was fierce, even in the face of dozens of Eastern-style soldiers with guns. And fearless. He also made a verbal threat to the soldiers. Let them get out of here. The soldiers were so frightened by this momentum that they immediately retreated. See, after the soldiers left, the man immediately withered. Scared the baby to death. I knew that I would ask the commander to send me more people. This man's name is Zhou Yinglong. It was sent by Zhang Jinglin to pick up Wang Shengji and go to the 178 barriers. Thankfully, he arrived just in time. Otherwise, people may be cut off by the clan. But it has to be said, the people of the clan are really stalking. During their lunch break on the way, he actually sent someone to chase after him. Zhou Long was also a little angry. I'm ready to fight the clan. Ren Xiaosu speculated that he should also be a transcendent. Otherwise, how could Zhang Jingling only send him over alone? However, when the people of the clan got out of the car, Zhou Long was dumbfounded. Because it wasn't a group of soldiers who came. It's a group of chefs. The head of the clan introduced. I am the head of the clan foundation. I heard that there is a problem with the guests. Can't go to our barrier to taste the food. So I came with the cook. Let's give you a taste of the authentic roasted whole lamb. With that, the cook got busy. Ren Xiaosu watched coldly from the side. I thought that this grandmaster really had a set of pretending. Zongcheng and him looked like brothers and sisters before. But in the end, he was killed. It's just that Ren Xiaosu still doesn't know. Why did Zongcheng attack them? The braised lamb is roasted. Zongxiang said to help everyone taste it. In fact, it was the princess who sold melons. Blow one's own trumpet. But the people of the clan really cooked a meal honestly. And left. Zhou Long took a crisp bite. Hyenas are courteous. What good can be? For days later, they finally reached the outside of the 178 wall ridge. It was Su Xianchu who came to pick them up. When Su Xianchu saw that Ren Xiaosu was seriously injured, also immediately asked him with a gloomy face what happened. Ren Xiaosu said that it was a long story. Just tell him that all this is the work of the clan. Seeing that Ren Xiaosu and Su Xianchu have such a good relationship, the three people on the side were stunned. What about the ordinary homeless people who said yes? Su Xianchu also introduced to everyone with a smile. This is the barrier terminator I said earlier. You can always run out of his barriers. Now the three of them were even more surprised. 178 barrier. This is a catastrophe. Ah, that's it. Su Xianchu urged everyone to get in the car. Prepare to enter the barrier with everyone. At this time, Wang Shengying in the car was indeed a little angry. He lied to us. I gave him stitches up and closed the wound. It looks pretty honest. As a result, there was not a word of truth on the way. Wang Shengji felt that it was normal. Want to survive in the wilderness. This vigilance is essential. Just lamented his age. I don't know what I went through. Only then can we have such vigilance. At this time, they also finally entered the 178 arm. Zhang Jingling and others have also been waiting here for a long time. This woman turned her face too quickly. Just Ren Xiaosu had just reached the 178 barrier. Zhang Jingling didn't expect to meet her here, seeing that Ren Xiaosu was injured. So he lifted her clothes. Looked at Ren Xiaosu's penetrating injury. Feels familiar. It's similar to the wounds of the soldiers they were attacked before. Then, the man behind Zhang Jingling said that the wound was stitched up. Not very sure. Why don't we remove the stitches and see? Ren Xiaosu was shocked when he heard this. This guy is really perverted. Zhang Jinglin then asked who did it. Ren Xiaosu is also going to be before. 1510 said it. But I didn't expect Zhang Jinglin to know anything about Zongcheng. It is said that Zongxiang and Zongqing are brothers. The upper echelons of the clan are ready to let the statue take over the clan. And Zongcheng will be the shadow of Zongxiang. Watched Ren Xiaosu and Zhang Jinglin also talk eloquently. Wang Shengying felt even more aggrieved. It was so good to her before. I hid myself so much. Ren Xiaosu also apologized for the first time. But Wang Shengying was weird. After all, it's a big shot. You have to hide your identity, so as not to be persecuted by others. Ren Xiaosu didn't know how to coax for a while. But when he knew, when Ren Xiaosu's family was also persecuted by the clan, I forgave him instantly. He also said that he would help him find his family. Ren Xiaosu sighed that the woman turned her face. After a book that is faster than a flip book, Su Xianchu also took everyone to visit the 178 barriers. Ren Xiaosu was attracted by a huge bell tower. Su Xianchu said that this kind of barrier is different from other barriers. It's not for retribution. It's marketable. The bell rings. It means that everyone in the army must be prepared to fight to the death. The last time the bell rang was 16 years ago, so much so that many people don't know about it. There have been wars here. At this time, Su Xian said to Ren Xiaosu, "Your injury is not healed. I'll go to the quartermaster department and get you some medicine. However, there is a shortage of drugs right now." Not necessarily. Ren Xiaosu was not worried, because I also prepared some black medicine. As soon as I heard this, Su Xianchu immediately asked him complimentingly, "And there are not many black medicines." Ren Xiaosu is also welcome. It was given to him directly. Also received Su Xianchu's thanks. In the evening, they are ready to go out for a stroll. Wang Shengying changed into a set of modern clothes from the Central Plains. It looks gorgeous. However, after Ren Xiaosu saw it, but I fantasized about what Xiaojing would look like when she wore it. That's when they noticed. Displaced people lined up in the streets to hand in food. It seems that the 178 barrier is preparing for war. At this time, Wang Xingji spoke. "If you are determined to take revenge on the clan, then rest assured. If Mr. Zhang didn't think about it, they won't let me come." Xiaosu also understood. The 178 barrier is ready to start with the clan. However, he didn't know it yet. He has been sold by Zhang Jinglin. The Sharp Knife Company became a soldier. Recruits report on their first day, but ushered in the bullying of veterans. The battalion commander also turned a blind eye to this. "Leave him alone." The boy hurriedly lifted his shirt. "Indicate that you are injured. You big guys. You can't do anything to a wounded person." However, the group of veterans looked even more excited when they saw this. It also said that they would give it a tap. But that's a ghost. We'll trust Xiaosu. Turn around and run. Heroes don't suffer immediate losses. Can't you beat me and run? It's the first time they've seen such cowardly recruits. So they took the guy and chased after him. Ren Xiaosu shouted that it was almost fatal. When he fled all the way to the camp of the second company, Ren Xiaosu had a plan. Towards the person of the second company is a punch. Then he was beaten violently. After the fight, I didn't forget to say that the sharp knife is invincible. Then he left the unlucky bastard and walked away. The Sharp Knife Company and the second company are not dealing with each other. Seeing his brother being beaten, the commander of the second company couldn't bear it anymore. Hurriedly summoned the brothers. Prepare for this new hatred and old hatred together. However, the Sharp Knife Company that chased after him didn't understand what was happening. Was blocked by the people of the second company. The two sides fought together without saying a word. Just when the two sides are inextricably fighting, Battalion Commander Zhou Yinglong arrived. He couldn't help but complain that Ren Xiaosu was really a broom star. The first day of coming. Let the Sharp Knife Company and the second company fight first. It's really a barrier finisher. Subsequently, he taught with a gloomy face, "Don't give Lao Tzu a sharp knife. 10 minutes for me to go back to the barracks and assemble." But just as they were back in the barracks, Ren Xiaosu came out with a hippie smile. "You really are. I don't even call me when I fight." These words instantly angered the soldiers. They gritted their teeth and were preparing to do it. Suddenly, someone coughed. Remind them that the battalion commander has arrived. So they immediately became serious. Quickly get in formation. Zhou Yinglong also solemnly announced a task 178. The War of the Ramparts and the offensive is on the verge of breaking out. He demanded that the Sharp Knife Company go on the expedition immediately. Take Dingyuan Mountain within half a month. Zhang Xiaoman served as the commander of the Sharp Knife Company. It was also a military order that could not be taken for half a month. I killed myself. On the way out, Zhang Xiaoman was ready to discuss the attack plan with the soldiers. However, he found trouble with Ren Xiaosu. Let him be the first to say how to fight. But for Ren Xiaosu, this kind of bandit can be directly attacked. There is no need to plan at all. After hearing this, Zhang Xiaoman also took the opportunity to humiliate him. How many deaths will be directly hit by us? You think you're the same as Su Xianchu? Is there a shadow and a black cauldron that can't die? Ren Xiaosu was too lazy to fight with him. Indicates that he is a soldier. Just listen to the conductor. Although Zhang Xiaoman looks quite cautious, but the tactics are well considered. Even Ren Xiaosu thought it was very good when he heard it. At this time, the military vehicle was suddenly stopped by a woman. Wang Shengying heard that Ren Xiaosu had joined the army, so I wanted to come over and say goodbye to him. He took out the gift and asked Zhang Xiaoman to tell it on his behalf. Seeing such a beautiful girl giving gifts, the soldiers in the car expressed their sourness. However, when Zhang Xiaoman relayed, but it was to accuse Ren Xiaosu. There shouldn't be such a thing as a child's affection. It means that there is only life and death in war. However, Ren Xiaosu didn't want to deal with him at all. Open the gift box. It was found that the cookies inside were made by the girl herself. He only took one bite and took it out for everyone to share. Ren Xiaosu now has only young Xiaojin in his heart. I don't know where Xiaojin went. Maybe they all thought I was dead. Thinking that this also aroused Ren Xiaosu's hatred for the clan. At the beginning, it was the pursuit of the Guanshan bandits. Displaced. So he proposed to directly attack Guanshan. But it was immediately refuted by Zhang Xiaoman. Are you crazy? Guanshan can be more difficult to fight than Dingyuan Mountain. But Ren Xiaosu talked about his plan. To settle the distant mountains, it is also necessary to prevent people from coming to Guanshan to support. Then let's hit Guanshan. People from Dingyuan Mountain will also come to support. Zhang Xiaoman instantly understood what he meant. You mean pretending to hit Guanshan, then ambush and settle the distant mountains by surprise? Ren Xiaosu nodded. This was followed by a military order. Said that it would bring enough pressure to Guanshan. Let Dingyuan Mountain definitely send troops to support. Zhang Xiaoman listened. Didn't underestimate him because he was a recruit. After all, Ren Xiaosu is an extraordinary person recommended by Zhang Jingning. He just said I believe in you. But when you say it, you have to do it. If you can't do it, it doesn't matter who you are. I'm going to shoot you. Ren Xiaosu calmly handed it over to me. Don't worry. And Ren Xiaosu exudes momentum. It also impressed the other soldiers. Is worthy of being the person that Commander Zhang fancies. In the evening, they arrived at the foot of the mountain to prepare to carry supplies. The other soldiers were carried by 2 people. Ren Xiaosu easily carried 80 pounds of weapons. Directly looked at Zhang Xiaoman, who was stunned. This is the power of the transcendent. Suddenly, Ren Xiaosu received a task prompt from the system. Help your comrades reduce their burden. So Ren Xiaosu kindly stepped forward to help. Was rejected by Zhang Xiaoman. So he directly turned on the oppression of the transcendental. Let the other party honestly hand over the supplies to him. And this compulsive help also made Zhang Xiaoman at a loss. However, Ren Xiaosu didn't forget to go back and ask, "Don't you say thank you?" Accompanied by a system prompt from Zhang Xiaoman's thanks. The garment task is complete. Progress 1% suddenly. Not far away, the sound of vehicles sounded. The soldiers instantly prostrate on the ground and hide their figures. However, there was a scream ahead. They can't help but poke their heads out to look. I saw Ren Xiaosu catch a bandit. Directly pinched his neck. Then Ren Xiaosu took off his military uniform. Change into bandit clothes. Zhang Xiaoman didn't understand his intentions. Ren Xiaosu explained that he was going to lurk in Shangguan Mountain. He asked Zhang Xiaoman an hour later. Take a mortar and blast it up the hill. Try to make the noise as loud as possible. Zhang Xiaoman was surprised. Are you planning to go up the mountain alone? Ren Xiaosu reassured him that he could. Not to die. At this time, the teammates beside him admired him. I thought the commander had sent a weak kid. Unexpectedly, it was a peerless macho man who was sent. An hour later, Zhang Xiaoman ordered his men to open fire. More than a dozen mortars were fired at the same time. Guanshan instantly turned into a sea of fire. Suddenly, the whistle of a train sounded at Guanshan. Then the gunfire stopped. Everything fell silent. Zhang Xiaoman thought that Ren Xiaosu had been sacrificed. Can be a second. Ren Xiaosu walked out with an injury. He guiltily said sorry. I didn't get the job done. Zhang Xiaoman comforted. How can one person hold a bandit? It's good to be alive. Wait for the bandits to chase down. It's time for us to fight a tough battle. Ren Xiaosu was so embarrassed that just killed too fast. They died before they could ask for help from Dingyuan Mountain. Everyone looked incredulous. I have to say, this wave was loaded to Ren Xiaosu. Zhang Xiaoman led the team up the mountain. Make sure all the bandits are exterminated with your own eyes. He hurriedly called Zhou Yinglong to report the battle situation. But he hasn't spoken yet. There was an angry curse on the other end of the phone. Zhou Yinglong thought that they were going to give up as soon as they arrived. But when he heard that Guanshan had been knocked down, it was also shocked. Hurriedly inquired about the casualties in the team. In the learned, Guanshan was when Ren Xiaosu fought down alone. Zhou Yinglong was also full of disbelief. Ren Xiaosu was so busy. At this time, Ren Xiaosu also changed into a military uniform again. The soldiers on the side watched and discussed. Did you see that? Killed more than 100 people. It's like nobody. It's also too calm. However, for Ren Xiaosu, the elimination of the bandits in Guanshan is only the beginning. I will definitely be loyal in the future. After looking good, Zhang Xiaoman finished counting the supplies. It turned out that these bandits didn't even have a grenade. I thought these bandits were too poor. Can't even afford grenades. He thought about it. Less than grenades. It had already been put away by Ren Xiaosu in advance. At this time, a soldier carried a heavy weapon. Just get ready to go down the mountain. Ren Xiaosu snatched it away. I'm going to sell it for him. In the eyes of the soldiers, Ren Xiaosu's image instantly became taller. He can fight again. In unity and friendship. This is simply a fairy teammate. Thereupon, Ren Xiaosu received another thank you from Jiao Shaochen. I didn't expect it to be quite good to brush thank you coins here. The next day, when they were heading to Dingyuan Mountain, only to find that the bandits were still standing guard at the foot of the mountain. However, not for a while. Ren Xiaosu walked back with the two of them. The soldier wakes up the bandits. Forced them to draw the defense of Dingyuan Mountain. The bandits heard that it was 178 barriers. It was very cooperative in an instant. Ren Xiaosu felt very strange. I got the information I wanted. Zhang Xiaoman also decided to attack at night. Just destroy the heavy machine gun points of the bandits. Then they can keep the casualties to a minimum. However, Ren Xiaosu said, you can go around the back mountain by yourself. Be in tune with them inside and out. Before leaving, Xiaosu was going to take 2 packs of celestial bodies. Also remind them. 6 hours later, an explosion was heard on the mountain. They were immediately destroyed with heavy machine guns. In this regard, Zhang Xiaoman also trusts him very much. After all, there is Ren Xiaosu. It's going to be so easy. Night falls. The soldiers were terrified. They were worried about Ren Xiaosu's safety. After all, the number of people in Dingyuan Mountain is several times more than that in Guanshan. Zhang Xiaoman ordered his subordinates to hear the movement as soon as they heard it. Immediately attacked. Make sure Ren Xiaosu is okay. Fighting a war is a matter for the entire Sharp Knife Company. He can't be left alone under pressure. Unconsciously, Ren Xiaosu was in the eyes of the soldiers. It's no longer the new recruit. Rather, they are brothers and comrades in arms recognized by everyone. Meanwhile, Ren Xiaosu summons a black shadow. Successfully touched Dingyuan Mountain. He carefully probed the situation. It was found that there were really a lot of bandit dens. So he sent the shadow alone into the tent. Wipe out the sleeping bandits one by one. The whole process didn't make much movement. After a sneak attack on a couple of tents, finally someone spotted it and started shooting. At this moment, a bullet hit the center of the black shadow's eyebrows. Ren Xiaosu also felt a violent concussion in his head. He thought to himself that he couldn't let people hit the eyebrows of the silver. Otherwise, there will be big problems. Ren Xiaosu no longer hesitated. Ignite TNT directly. Use the shadow gate to teleport outside the shed. Explosions rang out. The bandit camp turned into a sea of fire in an instant. Zhang Xiaoman under the mountain saw this. He immediately ordered his men to fire mortars. It is a successful destruction of an enemy heavy machine gun point, just as they were preparing to storm it. Another heavy machine gun point began to strafe, persecuting them to no longer move forward. But right now, there was an explosion at the heavy machine gun point. Zhang Xiaoman knows. It was Ren Xiaosu's TNT that blew up the heavy machine gun point. There are no more obstacles. Zhang Xiaoman quickly led the team to rush forward. Ren Xiaosu saw them arrive. Also immediately retracted the shadow. He didn't want to expose himself yet. Has the same transcendence as Shuexian's pestle. Sharp knives came up one after another. It is also a quick extermination of the remnants of the bandits. Several escaped bandits. Was also lost by Ren Xiaosu's remote head. Bandit C Transcendentals. He also immediately ordered his subordinates to retreat. However, Ren Xiaosu was already ambushed on their way to escape. Gunshots rang out. The fleeing bandits were also killed. Meanwhile, Zhou Yinglong received a call from Zhang Xiaoman again. He thought it was a call for reinforcements. But he didn't expect Zhang Xiaoman to say that Dingyuan Mountain had been defeated. Zhou Yinglong couldn't help but suspect that his kid had drunk fake wine. The night hasn't gone by yet. How did it get down? When he heard about the casualties were only 7 people. Kill 927 enemies. The shock on his face could not be held back any longer. I didn't expect Commander Zhang to stuff it in. Ren Xiaosu is so powerful. And Zhang Xiaoman is also proud. The Sharp Knife Company really picked up a piece of treasure. After talking on the phone, Zhang Xiaoman, who was in a good mood. I couldn't help but come forward to praise Ren Xiaosu. Little brother, you're too fierce. Kill most of the bandits in one person. Our brothers are not vegetarians either. There will be tasks later. Let's go together. Ren Xiaosu said no. This will reduce your casualties. Actually, Ren Xiaosu just didn't want to. They have discovered their extraordinary abilities. But these words moved Zhang Xiaoman. When counting supplies, Zhang Xiaoman also found that something was wrong. Dingyuan Mountain is not poor. I can't even see a whole box of grenades. At this time, Ren Xiaosu was indeed a little weak-hearted, because he will have a whole 10 boxes of grenades. It's all packed into the storage space. At this time, the system sends a prompt. Completing the quest rewards 5 attribute points. Even Ren Xiaosu didn't expect it. Loading grenades can also be regarded as helping to reduce the burden on teammates. This time the property is assigned. Yuan Xiaosu added 3 points of strength. 2 agility. The distribution of reward values is complete. Reach 13.5 STR. Reach 12.1 agility. When the STR and agility levels exceeded 10. Enabled the boost skill. Yuan Xiaosu has already begun to look forward to it. When these 2 stats break through 20. And what new abilities will there be? After that, everyone carried supplies down the mountain. Every soldier saw Ren Xiaosu. All expressed their gratitude. For a while, Ren Xiaosu thanked the coin for getting a soft hand. In a short time, more than 100 thank you coins were harvested. So he slowed down even more. Wait for the rest of you. Those comrades in arms who haven't had time to thank him yet. Early the next morning, they also finally returned to the base. Now, all the soldiers in the base stopped the fire in their hands. A sharp knife and a mirror to return triumphantly. However, Zhang Xiaoman was in distress at this time. He had to write a combat report. The point is that neither does he know how this trick is won. So he hurriedly called Ren Xiaosu to help him wash. Ren Xiaosu said, "Merit can't let yourself stand alone." Then he began his own mess of chiseling. Company Commander Zhang Xiaoman led the charge. Go ahead. Fearless. Moments of crisis. Zhang Xiaoman shot through the bodies of the 3 bandits. This made Zhang Xiaoman on the side doubt his life. Are you so powerful? However, at this moment, Ren Xiaosu was thinking. After avenging yourself, you should leave. He had to hurry up and go to the Central Plains. Find 6 yuan and they will do it. After that, Zhou Yinglong was also furious when he saw the report. Reprimanded Zhang Xiaoman and lamented the merits of his subordinates. But Zhang Xiaoman also said helplessly, This report was written by Ren Xiaosu. Zhou Long was also helpless. After all, he asked Zhang Xiaoman to write a report, is to let him write about Ren Xiaosu's battle process. Otherwise, every time someone asks him, when Ren Xiaosu was doing. As the battalion commander, he couldn't even answer what was going on. So he asked Zhang Xiaoman personally, how did Ren Xiaosu fight this battle? However, Zhang Xiaoman said that he didn't see it either. Then he was punched out by Zhou Long's anger. However, by the next day, the battle report that was reported up was added by the commander. However, the whole team won the third-class merit. Only Ren Xiaosu did not have any reward. This also made Zhang Xiaoman feel guilty. Back to camp, he summoned his brothers to a meeting. Asked everyone to write a joint letter of protest. But this is the following course after all. If you upset the commander, I'm afraid they won't have much future in the army in the future. Zhang Xiaoman said, I don't force you. I just want to fight for Xiaosu. After all, he risked his life to keep everyone safe. But other soldiers expressed their support. The future is important, but I can't do anything against my will. Whoever this honor should be who it is. Not mine, no. If you want to have that, you have to say that. There was not a single person in the army who was afraid. All of them wrote their names on the letters. Afterwards, Zhang Xiaoman found Zhang Jingning. This is our protest line. We feel that Ren Xiaosu has been treated unfairly. We want to rewrite the combat report. He was the first to fight this battle. You can't give all of us a third-class merit. As a result, he was forgotten. Isn't that a slap in the face? Then Zhang Jingning also said righteously, we're not right about people falsifying battle reports to circulate criticism within the military. Take the lead in the army. Then cancel all of your rewards this time. However, Zhang Jinglin gave a punishment, but he didn't mention Xiaosu at all. It turned out that this was just Zhang Jinglin's strategy. He deliberately did not give credit to Xiaosu. It's also to see that he is unpopular with the sharp knife face. For better arrangements in the future. However, this Xiaosu is more popular than he imagined. Night. Ren Xiaosu learned that the awards ceremony in the evening had been cancelled. He also spoke to the brothers with guilt. Everyone, why bother? I don't really need merit. But Zhang Xiaoman said that you don't need to be your business. But our sharp knives can't even look at our brothers. This unfairness. Our sharp knives are all glorious. One loses all. At this point, the people in command reassured them not to be discouraged. Said that this time the third-class merit was just buckled. Wait for the next meritorious service, and then count it together. And the commander has allowed you to keep all the loot from this time. Zhang Xiaoman was also instantly happy when he heard it. I have to say, Zhang Jinglin, the old fox. It is to know how to slap a sweet date. This operation also left the soldiers without any complaints. Then, Zhou Long began to announce the task again, and all packed their bags. Take Ishikawa town down to me in 7 days. On the way out, Zhang Xiaoman took out the paper and asked everyone to start writing a book. This is before every big war. Zhang Xiaoman looked at Ren Xiaosu for a long time. I was also puzzled and asked him why he didn't write. Ren Xiaoman looked lonely. He said he didn't know who to write to. The clan caused his family to be ruined. That's why he hates the clan so much. The soldiers were also sympathetic. I didn't know how to comfort him for a while. At this time, the car also drove to the vicinity of Ishikawa town. Zhang Xiaoman asked everyone to trim here. Wait for the comrades of the second and third companies to arrive. Ren Xiaosu took advantage of everyone's rest. A man sneaked out of the way. He pulled out a lighter and lit several bonfires. Then hide behind a tree and wait. Suddenly an explosion sounded. The campfire was hit by a shell. This movement also attracted Zhang Xiaoman's attention. Ask people why Xiaosu went. Didn't you say that a bonfire would attract shelling? After all, they are alone. I let them waste some ammo. Maybe we can reduce some casualties. Ren Xiaosu's operation also stunned Zhang Xiaoman. And the movement here also made Zhou Long misunderstood. Sharp Knife Lotus has already started a fight with the enemy. immediately called and scolded Zhang Xiaoman. Thereupon, Zhang Xiaoman also lit a bonfire. Set it. Zhou Long asked where Xiaosu was now. Zhang Xiaoman was also stunned. It's just in front of you. How did it disappear in a blink of an eye? So he reluctantly said that maybe he went to light the fire again. Zhou Long is also a whole speechless column. When the Sharp Knife Company and the second and third companies smoothly converged, the official offensive also kicked off. Zhao Xiaoqin was assigned to use mortars, cover other people's movements. So at the time of the mortar fire, the crowd also rushed forward. When they touched the building, everyone is starting to be cautious, because every window has the potential to lurk enemies. Just when Zhang Xiaoman was about to lead the team to risk death to raid, Ren Xiaosu was in full view. Uses the Shadow Gate grenade. Send into the room. Cleaned up the building of enemies. Zhang Xiaoman was also amazed by this extraordinary ability. Ren Xiaosu said, "Where do you think it is dangerous? Just tell me. As long as it is within a kilometer range. Let me figure it out." Zhang Xiaoman is also quite experienced in combat. The direction is determined in an instant. 10 o'clock to the third floor window. As soon as the words fell, Yuan Xiaosu threw the grenade into the Shadow Gate. The grenade is also accurately teleported to the room where the enemy is ambushed, accompanied by an explosion. The soldiers downstairs also passed unscathed. At this time, Zhang Xiaoman asked about Ren Xiaosu. The previous grenades were all taken away by your kid. Ren Xiaosu just wanted to explain, but he interrupted without explanation. You don't have to hide the captured grenades in the future. It's all yours. Then Zhang Xiaoman ordered his subordinates. Give all the grenades and TNT to Ren Xiaosu. Also told Ren Xiaosu in righteous words. Who grabs grenades with you in the future? It's to rob me of Zhang Xiaoman's life. This made Ren Xiaosu embarrassed.